welcome. Hey guys, hop on in here, everybody. Hop on in here. We are live again. Happy Sunday, everyone. We're live with the Victory Life podcast. So, everybody, hop on in. We're doing Ask Me Anything, and it's your opportunity to ask me anything. Chaco's back. Welcome, welcome. We're doing Ask Me Anything, so any topic is up for conversation. Just go ahead and start posting your questions. You can pop them in the chat and we'll go from there. So, welcome everybody. We're doing Ask Me Anything, so this is your chance. You can ask me health questions, spiritual questions, personal questions, or you can ask for advice. I'm a registered nurse, I'm a Bible scholar, and so I'm uniquely useful for all of those things. So go ahead and start popping your questions in the chat. Welcome, welcome everybody. We're over here in YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. Welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome. Be sure to hop on over to YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. I haven't seen you guys in a little while. Welcome back everyone. We're just doing the regular things. So, hop on in here, everybody. We're going to take your questions, literally any question you have. It's a great place to ask questions. And, I've got my whole animal print going on here. So, I think that's a good way to be styled for questions. So, everybody, hop on in here. I'm taking your questions. Go ahead and start popping your questions in the chats. We're going to do health related questions or spiritual questions or any questions that come to your mind. Ask me anything is your opportunity to ask me any question in the whole wide world, and then I have to answer it. So yeah, you don't even have to clean up your question. You just go ahead and pop it in the chat, and then I will take it from there. So welcome everybody. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. So good to see you guys back here for Ask Me Anything. So guys, go ahead and start getting cozy. Get your hot tea. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Mr. Michael's back. So we're doing Ask Me Anything. It's our favorite little segment. It's your opportunity to literally ask me anything in the whole wide world. So I am taking all of your questions. Oh my God, Mr. Michael, I have not been on IG in forever. I've basically stopped using IG. So I'm no longer like really active over there. So if you guys are trying to connect with me, I'm on YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. I'm starting to get questions in the chat, so I'm going to start taking your questions. Everybody go ahead and pile on in, hit the subscribe button really quick. We're doing Ask Me Anything. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I see like 20 people in YouTube. Go ahead and everybody hit like at the same time so I get 20 likes. And then we get 20 subscriptions tonight. Let's go, everybody. We're doing Ask Me Anything. And so this is your chance to ask me any question in the whole wide world. Think of me as your best friend, your best lady friend, your most honest confidant who happens to be female. I'm going to give you good advice. So go ahead, pop it in the chat. It's for entertainment purposes only. But Mr. Michael knows I'm a doc. Yes, thank you very much. I just got out of school. So, doc, not meaning medical doc meaning Doctor of Healthcare Administration. I'm a registered nurse and I'm a Bible scholar. I went and graduated from seminary school too. So, go ahead, put your spiritual questions, your health questions, your personal questions for me. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Everybody hit like all at the same time. Everybody subscribe all at the same time. One Victory Life Podcast 7603. Hop on over. The water is warm. And I'm going to start taking questions. So, guys, I see questions coming in the chat. So, I'm going to go ahead and start scrolling back. It doesn't matter what your question is. I'm going to take it. Really. I really am going to take your question. And I will answer anything. Go ahead, pop your questions in the chat. I'm going to start looking. I see questions showing up in the chat. I'm going to start taking these questions. Go ahead, continue to pile your questions in the chat because that's what makes the segment so fun. If I have lots of good questions back to back to back, this segment is awesome. If there's no good questions, then I go night night. So yeah, make it fun for everyone. Everybody's here and wants to be educated and entertained, right? So let's do it right. Okay, I see my first question. Give me a second. I have to scroll back and find it again. Continue to pop those questions in the chat. Ooh, I saw the first one in there. It's hard to get to these questions on TikTok tonight. TikTok is doing a rambly, kind of scrolly, weird thing, so it's acting up. Give me a second, y'all. They're in here strong though. TikTok is coming in strong, so thank you guys from TikTok. Um, do. I'm looking. I'm scrolling. I'm a scrolling. If I hit one little touch wrong, the whole thing unravels. So, oh my God, Everett Harmon one got married. Oh, happy marriage day to you. Happy marriage day to you. Happy marriage day to Everett Harmon number one and his wife. Happy marriage day to you. Congratulations and thank you for the gifts. We should be giving you a gift. Veteran affiliate has the first question. Um, what's the first thing I should eat after a 24-hour fast? Ooh, first thing you should eat after a 24-hour fast. I guess I probably would wonder, are you fasting for kind of health reasons or spiritual reasons? I guess it's one thing that would come to mind. If you're fasting for spiritual reasons, 24-hour fast isn't too terrible. I would go. I mean, I can tell you the bad things I've done when I've come off of a fast. I came off of a fast and I went right into like eating a steak, which is like absolutely something I don't recommend. Don't do that. Come out of your fast and eat something. While it's admirable that I had some protein, I think that's a little bit, it depends on if you're used to doing a fast, that's a little bit harsh. So maybe something like a little bit soft, something easy to digest. That might be a better start than right into like a slab of steak. I was fine. I mean, I ate it. I was hungry. It was fine. But for spiritual reasons, when you're coming out of a fast and going back into eating, the idea is that you want to be able to exit the fast with as much discipline as you had while you were on the fast, because it's not just about not eating, and it's if you're not eating but not praying, then it's not you're not having this opportunity to properly connect to God during your fast. So that's one. So while you're fasting, the idea is to go deeper with the Lord. Use that time that you would have been preparing food or cooking food and eating food, using that time for prayer, for being in your secret place, for reading the Bible, those kinds of things, or even just listening to edifying content, Christian content like mine, a Victory Life Podcast 7603. Come over here and subscribe. It's your opportunity to do those kinds of things. So yeah, some coming out of a fast, 24 hours is not super long, but you've given your bowel a little bit of rest. Probably start off with something kind of easy peasy, something easy to digest. Nothing that's too heavy, too hard to like for your stomach to tear up. Maybe like a little bit of maybe like a banana or some rice, something easy to eat, something that's soft. Soft foods are probably good. A yogurt, something like that. Something easy to get back into and just make sure that you're doing okay as you get back into it. Of course, it's for entertainment purposes only. Gotta say that. However, if you're eating and you're coming back out of a fast and you're doing it more or less for health reasons, you kind of have to be careful that you're a safe in terms of blood sugars if you're talking about physical health reasons. If you're coming out of your fast and you feel like your blood sugar is plummeting, then that's kind of almost an emergency. You don't want to like avoid a piece of sugar because you're coming out of a fast when your sugar is low and you need to get the sugar back up. So when we're talking about for like health reasons, it's a little different than for spiritual reasons. If you're coming out of the fast because you feel like you can't do it anymore and your sugar is crashing, you're going to need to have some sugar. Ideally, if you have your sugars managed and you're not having these huge spikes, then maybe you don't want to go into something that's like got plenty of high fructose corn syrup. You want to just have yourself a regular, easy peasy meal, nothing that's pure sugar and nothing that's really hard to like rip apart. Something that's kind of soft and easy, but not really high sugar content and not necessarily super high carb content. That's what I would say. So I've come out of my fast. If you're going to eat something, a potato, something like a sweet potato instead of a white potato, maybe a little bit of salad, maybe a little bit of soup. If you're going to have something to drink, something that's maybe a drink that's got you squeezing some real fruit juice. Like if you have some water, you can squeeze in some lemon, squeeze in some oranges, something where you're squeezing in real juice versus putting in fake juice or something with artificial sweetener. I would say come out of it. Don't be going into artificial sweetener or anything that does weird things to your brains. That's what I would say. Let's see the next question. But most importantly, if you're doing it for spiritual reasons, my thought is to come out of it. And when you're coming out of your fasting state and going back into your regular eating phase, it's 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 not a good place to be when you exit your fast and you're doing that for God and you come right back in and you go right into like super bad gluttony. That's not the right idea. I'd rather you do a shorter fast that you can come out of it and transition back. Does that make sense? I'd rather you not do a 24-hour really hard fast and then come out and eat like crazy pig out. I'd rather you do 16 hours and then come out and ease your way back in and exit the fast with as much discipline as the way you held your fast down. I would rather you exit it with that same level of discipline because and I will say for some people, like in this season, I thought to go on a fast. I thought to go on a fast, but then I was like, you know what? I've proven to myself over and over that I can do the fast. But what's harder for me is just the daily eating well and, not going out to eat too much, the daily eating well, those kinds of things are actually a form of discipline for me. So I was like, what if I don't go on a fast, but I try to cut my sweets? That might be wise. And then I'm not having all the extra sugars. If I'm going to the gym regularly, that's also really good. So I add the discipline in a different way. And I'm definitely a lot more disciplined about doing video edits and content related things. So be quietly in the back end, I'm doing a lot of work on that. So maybe just think about that as you're going into it. Pray about it before you go into it, and kind of figure like whether you're trying to, if you're really trying to draw closer to the Lord. There are more than one ways of doing it. A fast is definitely good. It's not bad. If you're physically able to, if your doctor allows it, if your blood sugar can hold up doing those things, then definitely go for your fast. But you don't want to be exiting it and being so hungry and starving that you're like going and gobbling food down like crazy. Just break the fast a bit earlier and try to exit with a discipline and exit where your body is not like breaking and shaking, if that makes any sense. Just exit sooner, rather than wait and stick out the 24 hours and then really be struggling. That's what I would say. God's gonna honor. It takes some time to get into the muscle of that. Those are tough things to do. But next question is, this one is on TikTok. The next question is on TikTok. I have a question about job searching. Any advice? Yes, I have plenty of advice for job searching. Job searching post pandemic, post AI is very different from job searching pre pandemic and pre AI. Now that we have artificial intelligence, a lot of resumes are not getting the visibility that they used to get. So it almost doesn't matter if you're qualified or not. Resumes are not getting the same kind of visibility. So A, I recommend that you're praying. B, I recommend that you're optimizing your resume for they call it the ATS system. It's a lot of HRs will use a system of automated tracking processes. I believe it's called ATS, where it's scanning the resume and it's looking for keywords that align with that job description. So I read in Forbes about a year and a half ago that one tip that you can use in order to beat that, this is before ATS was really publicly known. Before that, Forbes had an article out about it, like probably a year before AI was really, really very popular. And the article that I read basically said that you should go out to the job description, like open up your resume, go to the job description, copy the job description, paste it at the bottom of your resume. Paste that in black ink at first so that you can see it. Now you've got the job description. You pulled it off of the website. You put it inside of your resume. Then you look at that job description. You take the font. It's all in black, right? You take the font, highlight it. You take the font from that job description that you pasted at the bottom of your resume. You're going to shrink down the font as small as you possibly can to like 8 inch, whatever, 8 font or 6, whatever the smallest font you can get. Now it's small. Now you're going to take the color and take it from black and you're going to make it the color of your paper. It should be white, right? About white, right? So make it white so you can't see it. So now when you end up submitting that document into a portal, if they're using an automated tracking system to scan your document for keywords, when it scans it, is going to catch some of the words from the job description on your resume. That's the information. I take that directly from Forbes about 2 years ago. I still have the article someplace in my email, but that was recommendations from 2 years ago from Forbes, because they knew AI was coming to get us. So that gives you the job description at the bottom of your resume. It's in white ink, so you can't see it. It's in small font, so you can't see it. But if that resume is being leveraged by an automated AI tracking system, it's going to scan it. It's going to pick up on a few of the keywords off of that resume. Could be from your job descriptions. It could be from what you pasted, but it'll help get you through hopefully that first bump where most people are getting cut out. That's the first thing I would say in your job search. That's one that I got from Forbes. The other thing, now this is more recent, there are websites that allow you to take your current resume and then you bring it in and upload it to those websites, and they kind of do all that for you, where they are supposedly scanning it based on the job description, and they're doing a similar thing where they're trying to optimize it based on the job description to put in the keywords where it needs to through AI to make sure that you pass the initial scanning. That's another way of doing it. Those tend to be a paid situation. The first option I gave you is obviously the free one, but it's manual. So if you're trying to put in a whole lot of job descriptions at one time, the AI version is one that you typically will pay for, but then you're posting in that job description. It's giving you automated cover letters. It's updating your resume for keywords. And then once you get that out, you'll be able to upload it. And then hopefully it'll pass that first go round where a lot of people are getting kicked out of the automated tracking systems. That's my first bit of advice for job searching. The second bit of advice I have for job searching is to be careful on the negotiation of pay. The next thing that I will say is when you're negotiating pay, you don't want to carve yourself out of a high paying job, but you don't want to lowball yourself, and you don't want to ask for too much. My problem is never asking for too little. I always ask for what I'm worth, and if they don't think I'm worth it, oh well. Oh well, I'm gonna be okay with them or without them. And so I'm willing to walk away. So it really depends on your situation. It depends on your financial situation. If you've been out of a job for a long time, then a lot of risk I wouldn't take when you're out of a job. You've been out of a job for a while, bills are piling up, and you're starting to get worried. You need to feed your kids. You have to look at your total scenario. If your total scenario is super risky, then you have to operate conservatively and don't get all wild with it. If you've got your emergency funds stacked up, or you've got a current part-time or full-time job and you're not in a whole lot of risk, then you can try some of these interesting things. So I'm not a person, I don't want to lowball my salary. I would be more peaceful to not have a job than be paid wrong for working way too hard. That's just where I'm at in life. I'm older though, so I've entered that place. But I've taken a lot of jobs when I was younger. I took a lot of jobs for very small increases in salary. My rule for that is try to work your way up at a company for a while, and everybody's different. Nowadays, what young people are doing is they're company hopping. and they're leaving one company, they're going to the next. You see that a lot in IT, where people leave one company, they go to the next, because as soon as you switch the company, you can get another bump, 20, 30,000 sometimes. So depending on your industry, if you're in a highly skilled industry, a 20 or $30,000 jump is not unheard of. If you're in a lower tech industry, maybe you're not in an industry that's not how the market works, then that may not apply to you. Like if you're a teacher, it may not apply to you. If you're in, IT, AI, technical things, it may apply to you. So it just depends on the supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand for your industry, there's very little supply, you're going to be able to negotiate harder, you're going to be able to ask for more, you're going to be able, like if you know the job's been open for a long time, you can ask for a lot. um, I've been known to get crazy levels of promotional money, like crazy levels. I won't even answer. I've been known to do that, but I also am willing to walk away. I'm willing to walk away. If I don't get it, I don't get it, and I don't care. And that makes a difference. They can tell I'm not desperate, and even if like I have been in positions where, man, I am kind of desperate, but I don't show it on the face. So if you are a risk taker a little bit, you might do it that way. You might do it that way. In general, I'm about that, emergency fund life and all those kinds of good things. And I think it's always good to have multiple streams of income so that you never get into that super duper crunch. That way, if somebody decides they want to move on, you're like, okay, okay, I'm fine. You're okay because you really are fine. For some reason, I've witnessed over and over again, when they can see that you're desperate, it destroys your negotiation for money, and it just destroys everything. They need to see that you're not their only option, but that you are skilled and ready. That's what I would say. So yeah, job search, definitely you got to bypass the automated systems. You got to do something with that. You got to do something to optimize your resume, to optimize the cover letters, to make it specific for the company that you're going for. You have to research the market to understand your financial position. So you have to understand, what is that job, that specific job for that range, what does it offer? That's what I would say. Know the range that's the market range. If you need to go to Glassdoor or just Google or wherever you need to go to find that ChatGPT, try to figure out the range for your location, because it's not just the range for the job. A job that's in New York or DC or California should pay more than a job that's in Louisiana or Texas or Mississippi. The jobs are going to pay more. The same way an MRI costs more in a different city, and it's the same MRI machine. MRIs may vary in different cities. Salaries increase a little bit because the cost of living is different in different cities. So at one point, I was going for a job in Baltimore. I figured Baltimore is close to DC. DC is like a 30% increase from where I live down south. So I'm like, if I take that job, it needs to be it needs to be equal. Like, in order for it to be equal to what I'm making right now, I need to see about 30% increase in DC than I am in Atlanta. 30%, because the cost of living is different up there than it is down here. So in order for me to break even, I need 30% more of the salary. Then anything after that becomes my increase. So I'm very cautious about taking a job in a city that's expensive. I don't, not opposed to moving around. I've moved around a bunch. So if I take a job in another city and it's like a California or a New York or a DC, where I know the cost of living is higher, I factor that in before I ever get to the negotiation table. I factor in the increase in the cost of living. That gets me, and that's got to be exactly where I am today. Now I know, if you make, let's say you make 100K in city A, you need 130 in city B just to be equal. You have to add that in. Then on top of that, now you ask for more based on. So if it's the same exact job, you're making 100K now you need 130 just to make the same amount, because once you finish buying your house or getting your apartment or doing whatever you need to do for cost of living, that's what's going to make you feel the same. So that's not an increase in pay. It looks like it on paper, but it's actually not. It's the same exact pay. And inside of HR systems, they can see that. They can see that, oh, you're in Fairfield, Virginia. Fairfield, Virginia is the richest county pretty much in America. We need to pay you more to live here because housing costs more here. They know that that job should pay more in that city. So they know that based on their market references. They know that. So when they undercut you in a city that costs more, they also know that they were winning. They know that. It's definitely something that's very well known. So, yeah, it's okay to negotiate your salary, but be careful if you're in that desperate place. Because personally, I'll negotiate my salary to the extent that they're like, well, we're not willing to pay that. I'm like, okay, if that's not in your budget, it's not. It's fine. I'm going to stay over here. I'm gonna stay over here, even if it's less, because I believe that when you switch jobs, you are gonna work harder. You are gonna work hard regardless. And if that title and job description calls for a certain salary, I feel like don't underpay me in that salary. Don't underpay me in that job. I'll keep the job that I have for now. That's just how I feel about it. But I'm comfortable. If I was like struggling, if I was on the struggle bus, I'd be like, let me make a deal with them because a little less than what I normally would get, it's fine. I'm in that title. I need to move up. Like it really depends on your total situation. If you're trying to grow a lot, then sometimes you need that switch in that title. You need that experience from that job resume. Sometimes you need a lateral move to diversify you before you move up. Mr. Michael said, what podcast do I listen to for financial advice? Um, right now, I'm not listening to anyone. Not listen to anyone. I mean, I've lived long enough. I've been an adult for over 20 years. I've lived long enough. I've paid off all my student loans. I've paid off this, that. So I know a thing or two about money. I've made plenty of it. I've spent plenty of it, and I got good credit. So I know a thing or two. I know a thing or two. Don't ask a broke person about money. Ask a person who's stable about money. that's my advice for you on finances. But all right. So hopefully that helps you on that. I could talk on and on about finance. I should have my own finance channel, but whatever. I don't. But yeah, I think the search thing is a little bit tricky because you can talk yourself out of a job. Nowadays, I can tell you now that the season post pandemic versus pre pandemic is different. I could literally ask for any amount of money pre pandemic, and for the most part, people are willing to pay it. I feel like post pandemic organizations, they have the money. Number one, let's keep this real. I want to be completely transparent. Organizations have the money and budgets. What's happened is the people who are handing out the money, the salaries, if they're underpaid, so like say your hiring manager, if they're totally underpaid and you ask for what you're worth, and they look at that salary like that's more than me, they're not going to want to pay you and they're not going to want to hire you. And that's going to be pretty much the end of the conversation. Here's where I live. I'm okay with that. I would rather, because I've had people that have worked for me and I've paid them close to my salary. I would be willing to pay them more than my salary if their job was like what it was, if they were special in their job and it was something very specialized and it was something that I didn't know. I would be willing to pay them more than me. I look at it that way. If they're offering a skill set that I don't have, that I need on my team, it's going to make my life easier and it's going to make me get out of work on time. I'm going to be less stressful if I have them. If they're going to make more than me, but I'm going to get off on time because they work for me, I'm good. You can make that money. Here, take that money. You know, if they're qualified and they're good at what they do, they can have it. And it's not about them versus me. It's, are they qualified? Are they a good fit for the team? Do they make my life easier on that team because they're bringing a skill set that we need, that we got to have it. If they can do that and they command that salary, they have that experience, they get it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to fight for it. And if it's more than mine, I'm going to fight for it because that's how I look at it. I wouldn't have taken my job if I wasn't happy with my salary. So I always enter with a salary that I'm comfortable with. That way, when someone else comes in under me, and they're commanding some crazy level salary, I'm gonna be okay with it because I got my money. I'm good. What I negotiated with, I'm good with. So I don't go comparing myself to my direct reports because their income is as close as or higher than. I don't do that. But what I find is a lot of managers do that. They get all like in a tizzy when you like come in and you're getting hired and you interview with them and they ask the infamous question about the salary. And whatever salary I give, I'm gonna give what I deserve. I'm gonna give what I deserve based on my experience, which is going to be a lot. Okay? It's as simple as that. Just hire if you want somebody cheaper or less experienced, go get them. I'm gonna stay over here. I'm okay. So that's how I look at it. But to each their own. Um, to each their own. I will wait. If it takes me 2 years or 3 years to get exactly what I think that I'm worth, I would rather wait because I know there's like a peace of mind once I work there. I know there's a peace of mind that I'm not getting undercut for my salary and all that. I need that peace of mind because for me, when you don't have that peace of mind, then you're searching for another job because you don't have that peace of mind. I'd rather not have to bounce around. So I want that peace of mind. I want the right money. I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna stay put. I'm not gonna move around. Pay me what I'm worth, and we'll not talk about anything else. If you can't, it's okay. Then you go hire someone you can afford. The end. That's how I look at it. But it depends on your situation. Desperate times call for desperate measures. If the money is low, if babies are crying, then you just get the job. Get the job and be done with it. Whatever they pay, you take it and then you work your way up from there. And those are the times that you work your way up from there. You might have to take a couple of lateral moves, make the same money with a different type of job so you can build your resume up. Because if you don't have a lot of experience, then you're not working on just cash. You're working on getting experience, diversifying your profile, making your profile look in such a way that you're versatile so that you can begin to command those extra salaries later. On the other end, my resume is already versatile. I've already done everything. So there's really, what are they going to tell me that I need to learn, that I need to do that I haven't already done? I'm already studying AI now, and I'm not even specifically working in AI, but I'm studying it. Why? Because I know I need to make myself more versatile always. So that's my other recommendation. If you're not already studying something, just little bits, don't go crazy. Just as you get opportunities to like learn something new about AI, be learning it because and be thinking about how does that plug into my current role? How would that make me more efficient? Start thinking about how it might make you more efficient with helping your kids, doing house related things, doing everyday hobbies. How can AI make you more efficient in those things? Um, those are things that you could be thinking of because eventually, if you're thinking like that, it's going to roll into how you automate your work for your job. For example, this weekend I was fiddling around with AI and I have a video from YouTube that I'm like, meh, I don't really love that video, but I love the content that I created, but I don't love the video. I'm like, what I want to do is I want to repurpose that video in a couple of different ways. So I want to take that video down and I want the transcript because I don't want to take all the notes. I talk a lot. So I was like, I need a transcript of that video. And back in the day, you used to go on Fiverr, pay someone, take your video and do a transcript and send you the transcript. And you pay them $50, right? Now you don't need to do that. You can go on to different AI pieces. I went on to like something I think is called Otter, and for 300 minutes, you can get 300 minutes in a month free, and they'll take your video and they'll transcribe it for you, fully transcribed. Um, so they'll give you a summary and things like that. So I was like, oh, I'm going to take that and I'm going to transcribe my video. So I got the video transcription. Then I took that and I put it in ChatGPT and said, do this and do this and do this to it. Give me an outline, give me a summary at this, at that. So that saved me a ton of time. And now I've got all that done. I did that in a matter of, as much time as it took me to download the video and upload the video, and it did the rest. And meanwhile, I was sleeping while it was doing that. So those are the kinds of things I think are useful. That same software could be used to take a meeting and then you put the meeting inside of there, or you can connect it to Zoom. And if or a Teams meeting, Microsoft Teams, you can connect that software to Microsoft Teams. You can connect that software to Zoom, and all you need to do is let it automatically transcribe the meeting and let it automatically generate the notes. Once the meeting is over, you just press send to your boss. Makes the admin job super easy. So you don't need to, all you need to do is be like, this is the weekend, the first weekend that I start fiddling with it. I'm going to actually open a technology channel in the next, I'll put it this way, in the next 3 months. I have some personal goals that I'm working on. Um, that I'm working on. So I have little things I need to do by different dates. So I've already started like fiddling around with AI. That's been my next kind of personal goal out of school. I'm like, I need to start working on that because that's changing every 3 months. And if we don't start getting into it in light ways now, us people who are old enough, we're gonna get obsolete real fast. So the young people, they're smart enough about it. If you're like 35 and older, it's going to be easily to become obsolete if you're not starting to fiddle with it just personally, however you think you can use it. Start doing it now so that it's not a wild west when a job asks you to use it or asks you how you might use it. um, just be ready for it. Yeah, because if your peer is using it and they're faster than you, then you might be eliminated from your job because you're going to be seen as too slow. Well, you're not too slow. It's that they're doing the same thing using AI and you're not, and so you appear to be slower. That's what can happen. So yeah. Um, let's see here. So thank you for the badge. T to Trees too. Thank you, thank you, Sean, for the badge, and um, thank you, Real Talk, for the follow. Thank you so much. You guys keep posting your questions in the chat, um, and definitely hop on over here to YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. Um, and thank you for the compliment, Tinali. Welcome. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. We're on Victory Life Podcast 7603. Hop on over here, guys. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603, and be sure to like and comment. Oh, thank you for the badge, Mr. Richmond. Thank you. But thank you, Noella. Thank you for the compliment, Noella. And for the badge, Mr. Richmond, thank you, thank you. What are the benefits of oranges? Um, I like the vitamin C in oranges, and honestly, here's how I use oranges in a practical way. You're gonna giggle. I think oranges are great if you're trying to cut some of your kind of the high fructose corn syrup sugars. So if you're trying to, like, when I go and eat like Daniel fast level, like very limited preservatives, I'll open a salad up and I'll take oranges and I'll squeeze the juice of the orange over the salad to help give it a little bit of like a little bit of to like loosen it up a little bit, put a little bit of um, olive oil or something, put a little bit of that, put some orange, actually squeeze the juice on it, and then like slice a couple of pieces of fruit or something, and do that to it. I like the oranges because it gives you the sweetness, but you can get it from a natural source versus like actual regular sugar. Obviously, it's still a sweetness thing, so you can't just overdo it and just like overindulge in anything that's a fruit. But it's nice to have, and it's a good alternative. I use it as an alternative just for putting all these ridiculous high fructose type things on my food. I also like oranges just because I have a sweet tooth, so I've been known to like fall in love with a good gummy bear, and then I can go through a bag of gummies. So rather than eat too many gummy bears, like if I start getting the thing that I have that sweet tooth and I want some gummy bears, I will get myself a little small thing of mandarin oranges and I will just like eat on those little by little because that's a healthier. It kills that gummy bear sweet tooth without me eating just trash, if that makes any sense. So yeah. But the vitamin C is good. I mean, it could be a little tricky because, if your blood sugars get high, then, that could be problematic. And it can be tricky too if you have like acid reflux and things. It can kind of irritate that. Sometimes it can irritate, like if you're eating like something that's way acidic, it can kind of irritate your skin when you have that. But at the same rate, that's just some people. It's not everyone. But thank you, Michael, for the compliment. Thank you for the badge, veteran. Appreciate you. But thank you for the blessings, Mr. Cofield. Thank you, and for the badge. Okay, I'm gonna take some questions off of YouTube. You guys continue to pop your questions in the chat. We're doing Ask Me Anything, so I'm taking any question you have in the whole wide world. Literally anything, you can pop it in the chat. Obviously, I'm good at health questions and spiritual questions, but I'll take any question you have, and I'll definitely give you any advice that you need. Um, Alrighty, so the next question is from YouTube. YouTube question. Um, I left IG. IG wasn't really doing anything over there, and I think I'm honestly shadow banned over there. So I don't think my content goes out, or my listeners don't like my content on IG. I mean, it could be that too. Keeping it real, but I think I'm actually shadow banned over there, so stuff doesn't get pushed, and I think what they want on Facebook and IG, I think they just want money. I think they want payment. I think they want you to actually pay to have your stuff move. If you're not paying, I don't think they want to move it. So, I mean, that's fine. I pay for a lot of things, though. I pay for a lot of things in content creation. So, there's only so many things I'm willing to pay for. I mean, I'm still investing even now. So, what I say I need to get a Shopify account by the end of the month. That's one of my things I need to get. Um, there's a couple of things I still need to buy. So I've invested a lot. I'm just one of those people that just because I've invested a lot doesn't mean I'm gonna spend the money the way I want to spend the money. I'm gonna be smart about it. Um, but yeah, I try to get the freebies where I can, and I'll spend the money where I need to spend the money. So sponsoring something maybe, but I'm not up for I'm not up for doing it on Facebook and IG. Not at this time. Maybe in a future year. So right now, honestly, I'm not going to really be using that for anything. So I apologize if I haven't checked the direct messages over there, but I haven't even been doing anything over there. Like the most I do on IG now is I sometimes will scroll and I'll post stuff to my stories. So you should check out if you're on my IG. I use my IG really only for stories. If you notice, I actually don't post any of my own content over there anymore. If I'm like happen to see something on IG, I'll forward it to my story so that it gives them visibility. But I actually don't even post my own content at all over there. So I don't go live on IG anymore. I went live over there probably 2 months ago just to say, hey, everybody, I moved. I'm not over here anymore. So I haven't checked that thing at all. There's probably a million messages over there that are not replied to. I do need to go check them though. I will go check them soon. But I apologize if I haven't gotten to the message. The next question is, and I still like IG. IG didn't work for me. If IG worked for me, I'd still be there. It just didn't work for me, transparently. So I mean, to each their own. The people that it's working for, they need to be over there. That's what's up. I mean, I was comfortable in IG though. Like I don't know, I felt like the family vibes over there, but I just didn't get outside. It's like you can't continue to just give content to the same people. You've got to get your content out to new people. If that's what evangelism is all about, I mean, so yeah, it wasn't getting out of my own little circle. So I figured I might as well get over to YouTube and TikTok. At least it's getting out broadly. Um, what was my first year in college like? Ooh, very good question. If you're going back to my first year of college when I was a kid, I'll go back to both. My first year of college as a kid, wow, I had kind of a. This is actually a cover up. It looks like a blankie. I had like a little blankie that I took my first year of college, and I didn't realize I was attached to the blanket. Um, and I brought that blanket with me to college. And the first day that I was there, my mom had, mom and dad came and dropped me off at college, right? And my mom was like, "Oh, this blanket should be dirty. I'm gonna take it home and wash it and bring it back to you in a week." And I burst into tears. I was like, "No, not my blanket!" And I was just like, was not gonna part ways with the blanket. that I had only had for 2 years. So I realized I was madly attached to the blanket. Yeah, so that was a thing. So my first year of college was a lot of parties. I studied enough to be dangerous. I got decent grades. I mean, um, I was bright enough, so I got decent grades, but I partied a lot and I studied less than I should have. I probably should have studied more, but I balanced my fun. So I normally would study kind of a night or two before the test, and I did pretty much fine. Um, yeah, my first year was okay. I struggled in math. But other than that, I did okay. I mean, it was pretty standard. I had fun. I made friends. I was social. Um, I had like interesting roommate situations like most college kids. And yeah, I came home from my college experience. I wasn't happy with my roommate, cried about that, cried and cried, said I wanted to quit college. My parents allowed me to have a room of my own. So I was grateful for that. And I didn't realize that was an option. And I went back to school and was perfectly happy. So yeah, I was an RA my second year of college. It was pretty interesting. So yeah, I was a resident assistant. That was cool. Um, and I got a chance to I worked at the front desk of the boys' dorm, so I got to meet a tremendous amount of gentlemen. But let's keep it real. I got to also like basically I was signing in all the girls coming in and out of the dorm. So a guy that had a female over, I would have a list of every guy and every female that came over to their room. So it works both ways. Although I was at the front desk of their dorm and I got a chance to say hello to all the cute boys, and all the cute boys could say hello to me. I also knew way too much information and it just ruined it for me. So that was the part that I wasn't expecting. Like, you find out these guys are running girls in and out of their room, you're kind of like, ew. Ew, ew, no thanks. And they want to come holler at you. I'm like, boy, please, I seen the log. You've been having this girl in there and that girl in there. I don't think so. I was like, nope. So, I exercised a lot in college. My first year around, I would jog across campus. I would jog at night. I did weird stuff like that because I was a weirdo back then. I'm a weirdo now. So at night, sometimes we have like I was on the campus of LSU, which is a huge campus. It's like miles and miles and miles long. You could go a different direction. You could meet a different person. And I happen to love a school like that where you feel like you have a whole experience. So I would just walk a different direction, meet different people, very social. And then at a certain point, I can remember, if it was nighttime, we could take the bus and then take the bus and get to the gym. Or it was an on campus bus, but because the campus was huge. Or if you were, feeling safe enough, you could walk there or jog there. And I would just jog from my dorm miles and miles all the way to the gym. Then I go to the gym. Then I would jog miles and miles back. If it was still daytime, I'd stop at the lake and I would just read a book. And that's how I remember it my first year of college is having like that me time where, I mean, I did study. I didn't get straight A's, nor did I try to get straight A's. I studied enough. I partied a lot, and I really took a lot of time for myself to like jog, work out, spend time at the lake. Um, yeah, I mean, I can say I enjoyed my life. Those were the days. It was hard because I worked and I went to school, but it was fun, and I have a lot of fond memories. Um, how do I feel about technology, where it's headed? Um, I think technology is about to take over. So I think everybody who's wise should figure out how to use some level of AI and see how it should apply to your job so that you can be more efficient and optimize and move quicker. Be able to move quicker based on the helpful tools and yeah, do that. If you don't do that, I think you're going to be in big, big trouble. That's what I think. Big, big trouble. What's on my go-to playlist? That's a very good question. It depends on the playlist. It depends on the music mood that I'm having. Um, it depends. What was I? Today I went to the gym and I was rushing, so I didn't listen to anything. I was just like, let me just get this done because I was about to go out to eat, and I was like, if I go out to eat and I don't have gym, that's a bad combination. So let me at least go get this gym in, even if it's a quick one. I got me a quick one in. It depends. I mean, it depends if you're talking my church stream, I mean my church list for Spotify. It depends on if you're talking like, lately I've been on hip hop. That's where I've been lately. I've been on slow hip hop. I've been in like slow slash a little bit old school hip hop. Um, yeah, it depends. It depends. The music thing is such a good question, but it can change day by day. It depends on the mood because sometimes I'm in the mood for like some kind of old slow jams. Like I hit the button on some Jodeci. Like, say what you want. I still listen to secular music, so I'm perfectly honest about that. Pray for me. What can I say? I'm still normal. I'm a regular girl, and I don't pretend like I'm not. I'm also like a dance instructor, right? So I, you think I can teach dance and not listen to regular music? Like I teach dance. So that's what's up. So yeah. It depends. Like, church music wise, I have my church playlist. Hip hop wise, I got my slow hip hop, and I've got it listed as podcast promo on here, but it's basically any like really trendy music that I think might be good for a reel. Although you never even see me create reels, I basically focus on long form content right now. I've not been focusing on short form content at all. I need to, but I haven't been. Like short form content, I feel like I would have to just sit here on my couch and write out a script and then just do my like 1.5 minute spiel and then hit the record for that. For me, that's super scripted. I can do it, but it's super scripted. I could make it not look scripted, but it actually is scripted. So to get a reel, in order to do like the standard, I have to do a hook in order to hook somebody in the first 10 seconds, and then I gotta introduce a topic, and then I gotta wrap it up. Like that's not the normal phase of the conversations that we have here on Victory Life Podcast. You guys know we talked about finances for like 15 minutes. Somebody asked one question about jobs, and I spoke about it for 15 minutes. To me, that was a valuable 15 minutes. Like, that was like a $200 consultation fee, 15 minutes. So, for me to take that and then make it into a reel, I probably spent an hour trying to edit that down into 1.5 minutes. And I personally wouldn't be happy with the edit because I prefer the 15-minute version because I said what I said. Does that make sense? So, it's weird. What was my very first job like versus what my first corporate job was like? Ooh, very good question. My very first job. What was my very first job? My first job was at a home healthcare organization. I worked for a home healthcare company. It was a family company, so I was working smart, not working hard. Put it that way. Um, my first job in corporate My first job in corporate was a telephonic nurse on the phone. If you want to count the corporate job like in sales that I had, I was I did some marketing and things for AG Edwards a long time ago. So we like would set up like the marketing things and like try to get new people to come in and get their services. So I mean, if you went, that was a corporate job, but that was more marketing corporate job. It wasn't like at a desk. So I was like, you know, you can call it field representative or like event coordinator type of person. So I would consider that corporate, but I wasn't like four walls cubicle. And then my actual proper first corporate job was like in a call center, telephonic nursing. So that was cool because you would think telephonic nursing is just simply easy, but it was actually a super cool job. And people would come on the phone like super sick, and I didn't realize how much my ICU nursing helped me to like, not saying that we're supposed to diagnose people on the phone, because we're not supposed to be diagnosing anyone ever, because that's out of the scope of nursing, but you can catch things, you can catch symptoms on the phone if you're a good nurse. And I've caught people that couldn't breathe quite right and sent them to the hospital, blood clots and different things, just different things going on based on my nursing skills over the phone. So I'm super proud about that. I'm super proud of like all the people who were having heart attacks, having blood clots, having this, having that, that I was able to over the phone figure out what was going on, get them to the right point of care really quickly, even though they were fighting me on it kind of and scared. I still got them to the right point of care at the right time. So I'm really proud about that. Um, and that was like my first corporate job. Um, One of my most pleasant, not necessarily my highest paid, but one of my most pleasant corporate jobs is when I trained nurses all over the country. I traveled a long, long time. I went to different cities, and I would train nurses. I was doing software training. So yeah, I would do software training all over the country. That was one of my favorite jobs. It's just that, you know how you go to college again and then you get another degree and then you're like, whoa, I gotta pay Sally Mae, fools. And then I moved on from that job. I didn't move on because I didn't love it. I moved on because my bills grew bigger than that job. So, but I actually loved that job. I loved that job. I really didn't mind the traveling too much, but at a certain point, it just took a toll on my relationships. At the time, I was happy to travel, but at a certain point, I was like, you know what? I need some stability in my life. I better stop doing this. But I was all over the place, and I learned a lot. Life skill wise, I learned a lot from being on the road all the time. Um, I mean, I guess you could say I paid for it. I mean, I paid my student loans off, but I paid for it. Like relationships, like I ended up not getting married because I was always on the road. So, I mean, it all works itself out, but that's what happened. You know, you're like, why is she not married? She was on the road, and I just would lose friends, lose boyfriends, lose people. Because people act like when you're a boss babe that like you're not having a trade off, but you are. You actually are. If you're looking to use those eggs, better be careful. Better be careful that you don't run out of time. Ba-dum-bum-bum. Next one's from YouTube. Um, you're sorry that I was shadow banned. Shame on them. It goes along with the territory. If you say things like, you know, church related stuff on a secular platform, then you're asking for it. You have to have private, like, you know, a private Discord or Patreon. You have to have a private community if you're going to talk about things that people generally talk about inside the church. So I understand. It's not a big deal to me. Um, which would I like to travel to next? I mean, I'm not finalized on it, but I want to go back to Dallas. I do want to go back to Dallas. I'm just not finalized on it. I still have some thinking to do. But if I do go back, I'd like to go back before the end of 2025. I would say that. I can't weasel it down to like a certain date, time, or month. But I would like to go back by the end of the year. That's something I would like. So travel, I don't know if you would call it travel, but I would like to go back there, stay there. In terms of travel, I'm kind of a homebody, to be honest. Like lately, I haven't really wanted to be bothered with um, running around. I feel like I've done enough running around. Maybe. I mean, I could do. I feel like I could do Puerto Rico again. I mean, I'm always down for that. But I honestly, I'm not up for traveling right now. I mean, like, I'm happy to be at home. It's having been in school for how many years? I just want to be at home and not have to do anything. Like, notice I'm still reading and learning things, but it's pleasurable for me to learn at my own pace and not it's like shoved down my throat. Like it's been shoved down my throat the last 4 3 4 years. Like I am still learning things. I'll never stop learning, but I can kind of like this weekend I went hard. I learned OBS software this weekend. Um, I learned Otter AI this weekend. Um, Yeah, I learned a lot this week and I feel super proud. Like, I feel super proud. Next weekend, I'm going to try to figure out Shopify and figure out a little bit of the CRM process of like collecting emails. I'm gonna figure that out next weekend, and then pretty soon, I'm not ready to do it just yet, but pretty soon I'll start a technology channel to help people that are at the very beginning of their YouTube journey. Just because I'm doing a lot of things that I think people need to know. Like if you actually sit down and think about it, like I'm doing a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know how to do, and I'm having to learn as I go. And it's been kind of a cool experience. So eventually, I'll probably just start recording as I'm doing stuff, and then I'll have to go back and edit it down because you know how like no one wants to stick around for like 12 hours of content. I'll have to go back and edit it down into like the beginning, the end of different pieces. All right, let me take some questions. TikTok, what's up? What's going on over here? TikTok, tell me something good. Tell me something good. Digga doom doom. Tell me that you love me, yeah. Let's see. But. All right, let's see what we got here. Questions, questions, questions. Let's see. Oh my gosh, veteran, you're on the 8th hour for 24-hour fast. That is so exciting. Here's my experience on the fast, just so you know. I did a Daniel fast for 21 days. That to me is the hardest fast I've ever done. Just giving you the information. One of the first fasts I did would have been, um, I suppose it was a 72-hour fast. That was horrible and hard. I don't recommend that. 24-hour fast, I think you're good to start right there. I think that's a great idea. And if you feel like you're getting too weak or too shaky or things like that, then you just slow down and go have yourself something with some sugar in it and move on and get back to regular life and then try it again and let your body get used to it because these are big deals, big shocks to your body. I would say stay hydrated, make sure you're getting enough water. I'm not a big fan of the smoothie fast. I do not like those at all. I think when you're drinking smoothie, you're just taking all that fruit and you drink it faster than you would eat it. So you're actually shocking your body with very high sugar levels really, really quick. I think that's horrible. Like I am super anti smoothie fasts. I don't think that's a fast at all. I think it's just really unhealthy. I think it's more unhealthy than eating food. That's how unhealthy I think it is. So I don't recommend those. But yeah, a 24-hour fast, I think it's a good place to start. Intermittent fasting, I think, is even better because it gives you that flexibility of working your way up and starting like, okay, like everybody's different. Sometimes people are overeating like for most of the day and not getting a lot of breaks from their food. So if they start off just giving themselves a 4-hour break from eating and then an 8-hour break from eating, and then they're doing 16 hours, that in itself, that's a good thing to show like, okay, I'm working my way towards like this intermittent fasting where my body is eating for a certain period of time and then I'm fasting for another window of time. I think that's great. So, and I think it gives you like a little space for if your body is reacting kind of weirdly, like you could back off of it, and then the next day you can just start again. So, I'm a huge fan of intermittent fasting. That's where I live. But Daniel fast is literally the hardest fast I've ever done, and I'll tell you why. Daniel fast is just eating from the ground. Everything that you eat has to be from the ground, and nothing that you eat can have preservatives. It's got to be like if you put anything in your food, it's got to be everything has to be able to grow from the ground. So you're not eating like canned foods with all like you're not doing stuff like that, right? You feel so healthy. My body felt so good. I lost a crazy good amount of weight. Not like my whole body fell off, but like like honestly, a Daniel fast will get you every time. If you have anything going on with your health, usually it shocks your body back into its health state. I think it's awesome. Fasting in general is known to cause autophagy, which is like cell turnover. So after like the 24-hour fast, you can see some light benefits of autophagy. At a 72-hour fast, you see even more. So yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. But I'm more of a fan of intermittent fast, and I'm a fat of meaning like eating for a small window of time and then not eating for a small window of time. I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of Daniel fast, and right now, what I feel is best for me is to not do any of the fasts, but just to make sure that I'm exercising 5 to 6 days a week. So I go to the gym 5 to 6 days a week. I think it's working personally. I see everything coming together. I think it's working just fine, and trying to drink more water. Um, and what else am I doing? I'm just trying to like make sure that I don't go crazy with the sweets and I don't go out to eat too much. So I'm mostly cooking at home, mostly just putting my food together. I won't even say cooking, putting my food together at home, eating more salad. So I have this habit of going in my salad phase and then coming out of it and hating salad for a year. But I'm back in my salad phase, so I'm eating a lot of salad. So eating a lot of salad, I'm going to the gym a lot. So I'm not working hard at the gym. I'm working a light workout, but I'm eating pretty decent and having a light workout. And I'm trying to do these things regularly to make it part like of a lifestyle. That way, if like I skip a day, I feel like, and I want that feeling of, I don't want to feel like I skipped a day and I'm perfectly fine skipping around. I want to feel like if I skip a day, I feel like I need to get to that gym tomorrow because I missed something and my body feels like it missed something that I needed. Let's see what else you guys got in here. Q asked, "Am I a motivational coach?" I'm a Christian counselor. Technically, I was a case manager for a year, so that is a coach. That is a health coach, if you want to call it that. Motivational coach. I think if you feel motivated, then you can say yes to that. If you don't feel motivated, then I would say then I'm not. Thank you for the gift, though. But you can post your questions in the chat. I'm taking any of your questions. Okay, back over here to YouTube, guys. Go ahead and keep popping your questions in the chat, and I'm gonna take all of your questions. What about Mr. DJ? Hey, Mr. DJ. Da, 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 da. I don't have any conviction over music. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Michael. I listen to what I want, but I don't like if something pops off as something sounding crazy. I'll just jump and be like, "Boop, turn that off." I mean, that does happen. Let's be honest. But I pretty much listen to what I want. I'm not gonna get into all the weeds of all that. I live a righteous life. I could be out there in the streets going crazy. What was I doing Saturday night? Making content, cutting videos for YouTube, studying AI. Come on, like, come on. I'm not out here. I could be wild now. I'm not out here doing all the crazy things. So if my music is kind of my guilty pleasure, then pray for me. Pray for me if that's what you think it's a big deal. I don't think it's a big deal. Um, let's see. Do. How does someone determine which season they're coming out of and which season they're going into? Oh, that's such a good question. I actually kind of want more information, Mr. Michael. Like for me, I am right now, I can describe the season that I'm in. I am coming out of a season where I need a lot of people and a lot of interaction from a lot of different people. I'm coming out of a season with that, and I'm going into a season where I only want meaningful relationships and I don't want fluff. So I'm coming out of a season like there was once upon a time I could not be by myself. There was once upon a time that I didn't want to be like home alone specifically. Like if I was coming home to be alone, I wanted to just come home, be alone, go to sleep. So I'm coming out of a season where I needed people just to need people. And now I'm going into a season where I'm very intentional about who's around me and like I have much more intense, valuable exchanges with people who are close to me, and I have very few of those people close to me. And that's the season that I'm in. Like, a lot of fluff, it just irritates me right now. So I'm in a season where I think it's just called getting older and maturing, because anything that's fluff and noise just is not for me. It's not for me. And I can remember when I could tolerate a lot of it, and now I just, it's not for me. Like, yeah, I do a little bit of this, and then I'm like, okay, done. So I can tell by the frequency that I do social events that I've left the fluff season, and that I prefer very, like, more meaningful relationships. Um, yeah, I really do. That's where I'm at. I would judge it based on my tolerance for being, I can be in different circles in different circumstances, and I could joke, be friendly, socialize, and you can't tell that I'm like, ugh. You can't tell. But I feel it. I feel it. So I just tend to spend less time in those circles, leave earlier, I've returned less frequently, and then I have more joy in doing other things around people who I have more meaningful connections with, where there's more of a strong, like, well, we have more things in common. So I just feel like I've evolved and I have less in common with most people. So I tend to gravitate toward people who I have more in common with. I have less in common. I want to hang out with them for less time. It's simple. Like, can I go do a barbecue for 4 hours? Yes. Am I gonna go do that every weekend? Probably not. I mean, because at the barbecue, I'm probably gonna talk to 15 people who I have very little in common with, and although I can do it and I will do it, then after that I feel like completely wiped out and exhausted. So I'm. You can say I'm becoming an introvert, but I don't think people would agree. People outside of me wouldn't agree. But you can say I'm becoming an introvert, because it's becoming more exhausting once I finish a 4 or 6 hour event. I feel tired. Even though I would have looked like I had fun, and I did have some fun, it's like, okay, enough of that. Not doing that again this weekend. Whereas I know a season where I could have been barbecue today, pool party tomorrow, social event on Sunday, and can't get enough, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, all these random people. No, no more of that. Like, I'd rather just be home reading something, researching, growing in some way, reading some book, doing some content, doing some edits. I would rather be doing those things, talking to somebody who I've got like a lot of stuff in common with. I'd rather be in that space. I just don't have, like, I feel drained is how I know. I feel drained when I do stuff um that's not in my season anymore. Like, when I'm trying to operate in my old season, I can still do this stuff, but I feel totally drained. That's how I know that I've left that season. Like, I feel totally, I can do it, but I'm totally drained. Like, one night of that, I'm good. If I spend 4 hours someplace that I doing the stuff I used to do and not the stuff that I want to do, I'm totally drained. Now, meanwhile, I have been on the computer all weekend long, like it's my job, reading, researching, cutting videos, this, that, the whole entire weekend. Fell asleep with earbuds in, woke up with earbuds in, dreaming to like my own voice in my ear because I'm in the middle of cutting videos and fell asleep. So, like, but I'm not mad about that at all, if that makes any sense. Like, I should be tired from that, but I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. You vote that I have a financial content channel. I think you'd get paid too. I mean, I'm probably gonna stick with technology. I'm probably gonna stick with technology because I have so much more knowledge on all of the things that I've done with technology. I mean, financial content, all the basic questions I probably can answer, but yeah, I don't know if I would consider myself a financial guru. It's more of a career lifestyle guru. I don't know if I would like say I'm a financial specific. Now, if I spent, the summer just, spending a lot of time just on financial things, then yeah, I would say yes. But I want to spend like a few months just diving more into it, just diving into it. Um, I don't have bandwidth for everything. Um, let's see if there's any questions over here on TikTok. Any other questions? questions on TikTok, you guys go ahead and pop your questions in the chat. We're doing Ask Me Anything. So I'll take your questions. Thank you for the gift badge, Global. Thank you. You guys be sure to come on over to Victory Life Podcast 7603. Victory Life Podcast 7603. We're on Victory Life Podcast on YouTube. It's your chance to be part of the community. So yeah, come on over here. This is where we're hanging out. The water's warm. All's well over here. Give me a second. I'm gonna switch this thing. And then I have one more question. You guys have questions? Pop them in the chat. All right. And I think that might be our last question. Let's see. Okay, let's see. What are the differences between sin, transgression, trespass, disobedience, iniquity? Ooh, that's a good question. I basically lump we're transgressing someone, we're going against somebody. All of that is sin. It's all a form of disobedience when you really think of it. Um, if we're called to do what God plans for us and to be honorable and to worship Him and bring glory to Him, so we're operating outside of that, even when we're doing something that's good, but it's not on God's timing or it's not our assignment, that can be also bad. It could be a hindrance. So sin is, I think, anything that amounts to like obvious bad behavior to operating outside of God's timing sometimes, because the Bible says what's a sin for you. Like if you feel that something's a sin, even if it's not explicitly written in a word, then it's still a sin, right? So I think sin is a pretty broad term, but it includes all the different ways that we can disobey or dishonor God or dishonor what God loves. Um, I think all of it is in the same category. Um, that's what I think. I think it's all in the same category. I mean, thankfully, we have grace. I think that's the bigger question is like, thankfully, we have grace, but I have so many concerns with. Um, I have so many concerns with the lack of balance with messages of grace because I love the gospel of grace, but I have major concerns when we don't balance grace, the message of grace, with the importance of the message of purity and holiness for the mature believer, the person who's mature in Christ. I have issues where we continue to do messages of milk when, as we grow in the faith, we need to be feeding on meat too. We need to be encouraged in ways that build us up and remind us of how much God loves holiness. So I just have issues with that. I prefer messages that are very balanced, that don't say, oh, you're going to get to heaven because you're good. But I prefer messages that, because see me, I've made it past milk. So I also need to be encouraged in holiness because I could go crazy and go back to my old life too. I could, I want to be encouraged and hey, God loves holiness. Like he wants you to worship him, and worship him with your body, with how you behave, with your responses, with how you treat one another, with how you honor a covenant. Like I want to see people talk that way about God. And for some reason, I feel like it's like legalism. There's this world of like legalism, burp, 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 where they're barking all the rules down your throat. And at one point that was me, right? So let's be honest. But there's that, and then there's the like, message of grace, 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 and there's just no balance between the two. And whenever I see the people who are super duper calling everybody out for their sin, like yes, that sin, But like, don't forget, we don't have like, we're not perfect. And Jesus already died for our sins. So that's a thing. So there is just some balance there. I want more of that. I want to see more balance in on platforms that are very large. Like I don't have a super large platform, but I do feel that I give a balanced message. And you guys let me know. Let me know, Mr. Michael. I know you'll be honest with me, but you guys tell me, do you think I give a balanced message, or do you think am I too hard on legalism? Am I too hard on following the word of the law of God? Like, what do you guys think? I mean, I feel like I've grown. I would start off, I would probably say the first 2 years too legalistic, which is common of a baby Christian. Baby Christians are either super legalistic or they're struggling and backsliding all the time. It's usually one of the two. Um, but I was legalistic, so that's not a compliment either. It's one of those things that you have to grow through, and it is what it is. I mean, I looked for leadership to help me in that area, but it turned out Holy Spirit did the majority of the work, and like that's why I had to sunset some of my old videos, not because the content was inaccurate, but because I want to I want to revisit it from um, I want to revisit it from the mindset from where I stand today. I don't know if that makes any sense, but better I have a more full understanding of what God wants from us. And it is the Bible, yes, but I have a full understanding of how much God loves us, but how important holiness is, but how beautiful grace is. I have a more full understanding of the love of God, um, and the just how much He loves us past our mistakes. I have a fuller understanding of that. I think that comes out in my approach more now than it did then. And so I sunset a lot of my first 2 years information. I know people already said, like, where's your video one? It's still there. I've sunset a lot of my old information because I want to go back and redo it. Basically, I want to do over, and I think that's the thing about when you first get saved and God puts it on your heart to do all these things, but you're still growing, and so you're growing and you're needing to adjust along the way. And I'm just thankful that with a small audience, God has molded and shaped me while I had a small audience. And it's okay that I just grew in the faith as I went. It's okay. Like, I still have an opportunity to like redo my videos and clean them up and use my old videos as notes and then just redo them again. So you'll probably see the content revisited just from a different standing position, but it's not that the actual content literally has changed. It's just a little bit the same with a little bit different line of sight. It's the same. It's not that I said anything inaccurate. It's that the information's accurate, but you have to revisit it from a certain perspective. I have a better understanding of, I have a more full understanding of how God sees it. It's not just, I have a better understanding of how God sees it. I can't really put it into words, but I know when I get ready to do the content again, I'm gonna enjoy revisiting it, given that it's not as much pressure, right? I've got all the notes already transcribed and done. I basically am just revisiting it, so it'll be fun. It'll be really good. Um, yes, Alfonso said it. His love goes beyond comprehension. That's the thing. That's the thing. So, like, for instance, right now, um, I see a question in here. The question was, um, does love cover everything? Does it cover everything? I don't know if it covers everything. I mean, when we say it covers everything, that's such a very broad terminology. I mean, it covers a multitude of sins. I mean, it does cover a lot. I don't know if it covers every single thing, but when I say the word everything, I'm trying to be totally all inclusive. Probably covers most things. Um, And it depends on how you look at love, because we talk about like love for God. If we love God, then when we did do wrong and He put it on our heart to show us, give us a mirror and show us that we're doing wrong, we would feel conviction and we would want to try to figure out a way to behave more honorably in the future. We would like, if that was really love there. But we only love because God loved us first. So, it's tough. We talk about this love thing. Love is such a loaded term. And it's kind of weird when you think about how humans love one another. It's in such a way that oftentimes is really isn't real. Not saying always, but oftentimes it isn't. So it just really depends on if people are thinking about love as being, sacrificial, all forgiving, that's more love. So love is so much more. It's such a compelling term when you think about love the way Christ loves the church, sacrificial, willing to die for the church. That's love. All the rest of these things, I really don't know what that is. All this romance and stuff. I mean, I'm all for romance. I love some romance, but I don't know how much of that is really love. Because when I think about love, here's what I think of. And I'm going to give you a practical example because I think it's worthwhile. Um, if I see my parents fight, let's say they have a disagreement, because they've been married for my whole life, 50 years probably. If I see them have a disagreement, but in the midst of their disagreement, they choose to do something for one another that honors one another or that shows concern for one another. Like in the midst of a disagreement, if my mom is like, "Let me make you this plate of food," like she could be upset about something and also make a plate of food. To me, that's love, because you don't actually feel like doing that plate of food. You're actually in your flesh. You want to be like, "Hey, you, suck it." Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like in your flesh, you want to react in a nasty way when you're unhappy about something. You want to operate in your flesh and not do your actual responsibility. So I think that it's a loving gesture when you can be like, "I'm not happy with what you said, or I'm not happy with what you did, or I'm not happy with how I may have been treated in this moment, but here's your plate of food." I think that's love, because it's a choice of forgiving or moving past a feeling in order to deliver something. That to me is love. I think it's love if my dad is not happy with something my mom does, but then he chooses to like, she needs to go somewhere. He's like, "Okay, I'm ready. Let's go." And he's nice, loving. He's not like grabbing the keys and slamming things down. Like, he never does that. If he's not happy, he's also not slamming things down and like storming out of a room. He's not overreacting with like noisy vengeance. He's not happy with something and he's still continuing to do what he's supposed to do. Like, "Okay, you need it, right? Let's go. Like, I'm ready whenever you are. I'm just sit here until you're finished. I got the keys. The car is warming up. Whenever you're ready, let me know." So they could be not happy with each other for a moment and still do all the things that a husband who is protecting and providing and taking care of should do. All the things that a wife who is nurturing and nurturing and respectful is supposed to do. They can still operate in their roles and also have a moment of like, that sucked. You know, to me, that's love. I think that's the most perfect version of love. That's the love that I want. I want the love that's like, "Man, I blew this, but I'm still being cared for." Because honestly, that's the kind of love that Jesus gives us. Like, we blow something every day, and He didn't turn His back on us just because we blew it. He's like right there, holding our hand despite the fact that we blew it. I think that's love. I need that kind of love in my life. And if it's something less than that, if it's something that as soon as I make a mistake that I'm being thrown away or tossed into a trash can, then that's a love that can be kept, because I'm happier with my love with Jesus rather than getting some love that, comes and goes and takes me on a train ride and drops me off at a random place. I'd rather just have my love with Jesus that I know is sacrificial, that I know um, that it's never going to change. I'm never going to be forsaken. I'd rather have that love than having a love that comes and goes. I don't feel safe in those kind of loves, and that's the kind of loves I've seen and witnessed and experienced is that, oh, it's a love for now that weans and fails over time. I need a love that I think is more, if it happens to be like, do I want the romance? Yes. But if it happens to be like far less romance and far more security, I would find value in it. I would find value in that. If I knew like I could count on this person, I would feel real romantic about somebody that I knew I could count on, even when they didn't feel like it. Like, they don't really feel like doing something good for me, but they consistently do good for me. I feel real romantic about that. I feel real romantic about it because I haven't seen anyone do those things. So I've seen people when they feel good, they do good. When they feel bad, they do bad. And the worse they feel, the worse their behavior gets. That's what I've experienced a lot of, and yeah, if that's what I get, and that's what love is called, I'm just gonna stick with Jesus because He's loving me way better. But not to say that I think any man has to be exactly like Jesus, but I mean, it's a tall order. It's a tall order. I've seen a lot of people who do wrong, and then say that they love you. I'm like, don't say the word "I love you." Then just keep those three words and just be like, "You're cute." At least it's the truth. Say you're cute. Say that a whole bunch of times because I think that's believable. Don't say I love you and then treat me like a dog. Say you're cute and then treat me like a dog. Then I get it. I'm like, oh yeah, yesterday I was cute. Today I'm just I. All right, let's see. But So yeah, you guys, we're on Victory Life Podcast 7603. We're on YouTube, so hop on over here to YouTube, subscribe. Victory Life Podcast 7603. How can one determine their spiritual maturity? Ooh, Mr. Michael, you should check out the last video I did on new believers versus the I'll tell you what the title of it is. It is, I have to look it up. You would think I knew this off the top of my head, but I just don't. Um, the title is this one. Oops. It opened up. Why is it opening up? I just wanted to show you the thumbnail. Okay, hold on. I'm getting there. I should be better at this by now. Okay. It's you see that one, Mr. Michael? It's this pink and blue one, this versus that thumbnail. That second one where my fingers point, the pink and the blue. Check out that video. It says why Christians feel condemned and how grace, look at this title, and how grace changes everything. That's the name of the video. Why Christians feel condemned and how grace changes everything. The thumbnail says new believers versus mature Christians. That's what the thumbnail says. But that particular video, I spend my time talking about spiritual maturity and new believers. And I spent most of the time talking about new believers, but if I had to talk about spiritual maturity more, spiritual maturity means that it's not a difference in us going to heaven, yes or no. It's really about us understanding our identity in Christ, that we are in Christ. And what that means, it means that our old self, before we got saved, that old self is dead. That old self is gone. And we can step into the newness of things that don't have us bound. So it means all of our old ways, we don't have to be a victim of our old ways. If we struggle with violence or anger or whatever sin, we don't have to be like the person who's stuck in that. We just move on from that. We move on from it because that's our old self, and we believe that we are new in Christ and that He powers us to live out in a new, different way. And we just can fall out of agreement with our old ways that had us bound. So it's that when you're spiritually mature, it is understanding when you come under attack. Because I thought it was really interesting. Carl was on this stream earlier today, and he was talking about spiritual maturity too on his little comments. And it's so much about understanding your authority when you're under attack. He was like, oh, Christians come under attack the same way. Even if people who are Christians come under attack. I think people sometimes will forget that as Christians, we make the devil mad when we honor God, worship Him, love Him, and we begin to look like Him and act like Him and reject sin. We make the devil really, really angry. And so we can come under attack. And what's interesting is that when we understand our authority, that Jesus is, we're in Jesus. We abide in Jesus. We're in Him. We're in Christ. We're in the kingdom of God. But then also, Jesus left behind His Holy Spirit who is in us. That Spirit who raised the dead is inside of us. And when we understand that authority and we understand that we tread upon serpents and scorpions and nothing by any means shall harm us, when we understand that we are not slaves to sin, that's not who we are, that's not our identity, that's not who we are. When we understand our authority, that when attacks come, and they do come and we do get tested, that we're not tested beyond a place of being able to win. That when we're in Christ, Christ already has the victory. When we understand that swath of that, that is spiritual maturity. And it means that although we have grace, and this is why I was just talking about this message of why I think it's so important to be in churches where we have balanced messages that are not just all milk, not all just God is love. God is love. But God also, He desires for us to walk worthy of our new identity that He's called us into. So as we become spiritually mature, it's not like a day one we got saved and day two we're spiritually mature. It's not like that. But your heart knows, and God knows, more importantly. As we get there, He knows where we are being rebellious versus we're stepping into the new levels. And each new level is going to be a little bit stressful and difficult. Each new level is that way. But God has still called us into that growth and that stretch and building that muscle. So I think spiritual maturity is so much um, being willing to stretch ourselves and get uncomfortable in order to look at the word of God and see ourselves in it in the moment, and really constantly be self-reflecting and constantly be looking at ourselves to say, you know, am I growing at the pace that I should be? Am I in this season doing what God's calling me to do in this season? Am I, and it's not like you have to constantly be busy and be doing enough, but there are seasons where God is calling you into something. And for instance, if you see like several instances where you're getting called out for certain behaviors, then that might be God revealing to you that this is an area of opportunity of growth. And then as a Christian, are you willing to step into that? Are you willing to step into it and submit ourselves to God and say, God, I'm getting feedback that this area of my life, I'm weak and I need to grow. And then it becomes, are you willing to pray? Are you willing to fast? Are you willing to like read the word, seek God on the areas where it's obvious that we're just struggling? That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's so simple. It's so simple. But at the same rate, I think spiritual maturity basically means when we're called to stand up and go deeper, to go further and do what makes us uncomfortable in our flesh, to go deeper with God, are we willing to do that? Or are we going to just stay comfortable where we are because that's good enough? Because our goal is like, well, we already say we already believe in Jesus, that's enough. That's actually, there are points and seasons where God is like, you could be doing more, and I've called you into more. And that's the crowns that are waiting for you in heaven are attached to this work. Not only is that, but there are other lives, there's eternities attached to this work if you step into this, if you step into it, which is hard and sometimes scary because you're stepping into something that's like brand new. Like, for example, here's a perfect example. This is a small example, but it's a perfect example. Like when I first started podcasting, I bought this $1,200 machine, $1,200 machine that does a part of my stream. Why did I buy it? Because I knew that I could have used a system called OBS, but I was like a little bit afraid of getting into that particular technology. I was like, oh, that seems like another heavy lift to go learn this other piece of technology. I've already trying to learn this and trying to learn that, trying to learn this. Guess what, y'all? I learned it last night in a couple hours. I learned it last night in a couple hours. It really was my psychology that was holding me back. The technology really is not hard at all. It is my psychology that was holding me back. A couple of hours I fiddled with it, and there's a couple of actual tutorials that are perfectly fine. I did one of the tutorials. I didn't even do all of them, and I was like, okay, this works. And A, could have saved myself $1,200, but B, when I sit down and I think about it, at the moment I did what I could do is I just needed to be able to go live and get started. I did what I needed to do to go live and get started. I didn't need to have another level of jumping. But I think there are times in our more mature phase where when we're called to learn the OBS of that moment, we need to sit down and not get in our head about it and say, oh, it's too big, it's too much, it's too, like, have we even tried to step into that? Have we prayed about it? Like, God, I'm scared. Most of this is in my head. I'm scared about it. I haven't even tried yet. I'm freaking out about something that I've just transparently just been too scared to try. You know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's an element of spiritual maturity that it's good for us to consider doing the thing that we don't want to do, that we could be doing, that is a stretch and it is scary, but it really might not be too hard, but it's just really scary. And what we have to do is it's more dependency on God and less thinking that it's all on my own. So at the time, for example, when I went first podcasting, when I first went, into podcasting, the first thing that I struggled with was the first thing that I struggled with was just like fear of getting started, things like that. I was not savvy with putting things together per se. So when I got a new piece of equipment, I would um, I would pray before I started putting together different pieces of technology because I'd be like, God, I don't know how to use that remote control. So I'm that girl. So, God, I got this new piece of equipment. Help me with all these wires. Help me with all these plugins. Help me with all this software, with this login. I would literally pray and ask God to help guide my hands to help me to do what I needed to do. And every time I got a new piece of equipment, some kind of way, I figured out how to use it. But I was praying first, and then I would go try to put it together in some kind of way. A couple hours later, I would figure it out. And that's not like me in the world, but this is where God was, there was an opportunity for me to just freak out and not do it. And as it stood, when I first started my podcast, there was actually going to be a second person. And something happened with the second person, and that didn't work out. So then I had the choice of just not doing it or doing it. I mean, so there's all these little tests that came along the way. And so the first test was I could just not do it or do it by myself. So I was like, well, that wasn't the plan for me to do it by myself. I was going to do it with someone else, but I guess I could still do it by myself. Yeah, God was like, yeah, you can do it by yourself. Go do it. But that was step one, saying that I would do it by myself, getting past the fear of doing it by myself, all the inadequacies, thinking that I needed someone to help me do all these extra things when really I did them. I ended up doing them. It just grew me up in so many different ways. So, I mean, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of God calling us into these different phases where we're challenged to do something new. We don't have to do that new thing, but we're challenged to do it. And then it becomes, will we give God our yes and just attempt and then be consistent with it and do good with the little things he's given us, because that's really a lot of what God's calling us into doing, is not being perfect. It's being bold enough to say, hey, God, I don't trust myself, but I do trust you. And then, God, help me. It's us being childlike in that fear. And instead of running and hiding, because that's old nature stuff. Running and hiding because you have an obstacle is old nature stuff. New nature is like, I am scared, I am afraid, but I'm about to get on these knees and battle this out. Lord, I just bind the enemy for putting that spirit of fear in me. You have not given me the spirit of fear. You guys know what I'm saying. Like, that's a muscle of spiritual maturity, because the natural flesh, it gets scared and wants to hide behind the couch. But it's the spiritual maturity that says, I feel like hiding behind the couch, but God's called me to do this. I'm afraid of it, but I know how to pray. I'm a little fearful, but I know I've got the spirit of the living God living inside of me. I know I have a fleshly side, but I know I have a spiritual side. I know the spiritual realm is stronger and more real than the natural realm. And I know the devil is real and trying to come against the situation. And so I'm not wrestling with these things. I'm wrestling in the spiritual realm. And I'm going to ask the Lord Jesus to send angels to surround me and empower me and fight for me and with me. We're going to get through it. That's the spiritual maturity. It's not just for a podcast. It's for a million different things that we encounter that we're afraid of. And we're probably afraid of and can't do many things. But with God powering us, we can. It's possible. Bum, bum. Okay, so you think I'm balanced, Michael? Yeah, I was curious if you think I'm balanced. Like, I wasn't always balanced. I was probably, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I was more legalistic 3 years ago. I'm definitely more balanced now. But now, what I've observed is when I see legalism, I'm like, I have that feeling. And it's like whenever I see somebody preaching like hard legalism, I want to like call them up on the phone and be like, can we talk? But I also know that the beauty um, of growing online, small, little by little, like God could have blown up all my stuff immediately, and I would have had to go through this same legalism thing, but more public. Like, this is public, but I could have gone through it and had like a huge following. And I see a lot of people that have huge followings that are super legalistic. So and you have to look back and just say, wow, I'm grateful for the fact that Lyra, hi, hi. I'm grateful that he went little by little and trained me as he little by little grew my following. So he revealed things to me, and now I have an opportunity to like make adjustments along the way. Everybody, make sure you, if you have not subscribed, I know some of y'all already have, so don't unsubscribe by accident. But definitely, if you've not subscribed, come on over to YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Make sure you got your notifications on, because I'm gonna have a lot of content. Tonight before bed, I'll probably throw up some prayers. Do that. I'll probably do that. But yeah, it's been awesome. Um, let's see what you got here. So you guys were doing Ask Me Anything. So you guys can put any question in the chat. And my bad over here on TikTok, because I may have lost some of your questions, because my phone powered off and I had to plug it back in. I had to like power it back up and plug it back in. So my apologies. But thank you guys for the gifts. And if I missed your question, please just repost it in the chat and I'll get to your question. I'm taking your questions. You can ask me anything, 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 anything. I know it's been a while, but you know what? I've been running around a lot too. So, running around a lot, learning a lot, and yeah, now we're back. So yeah, we'll try to For those of you guys who don't know, I'm going to have a live on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be on divorce. So if you are married and going through it and you're like knocking on the door of divorce, please watch that because I'm super transparent in that video and talk a lot about my own personal struggles in marriage and divorce. And I didn't go through a divorce to not bless somebody with all the knowledge I gained. So y'all gonna get that knowledge on Thursday. So please send it also to people who you know are trying to go through a divorce, but they haven't signed their papers yet. Send it to them because honestly, I have a huge thing that I want to save everyone's marriage. If your marriage can be saved, I want it saved. I'm really, really, when I say I'm anti divorce, I really, truly am. I really, truly am because I know how the devil lies to people and how the devil tries to make people feel like the grass is greener on the other side, as if you're going to walk away from your marriage and then it's just going to be rosebuds and sunshines after. Like, it is some of the hardest years of one's life after they get divorced. It is some of the hardest years ever. And by the grace of God, I am healed, I'm healthy, well, and good. But it is some of the hardest years of one's life. And I mean, the hardest. And not only that, like if you fast forward it to today, that was years ago. So if you fast forward to today, I would have thought I'd have been married again. But that also never happened. So, like, the devil says all these interesting things. Oh, you're pretty, it never happened. Guess what? The devil's a liar. He's lying for a living. So, I try to tell people to be careful because, you know, you just don't know what's on the other side of it. The financial difficulties are tough, the emotional difficulties are super tough. You know, you think you might gonna get married again. You think you're cute and pretty and got money and gonna get married again, and then it didn't happen. It's like, uh-oh, surprise, that didn't happen the way you expected. So all of these things are possibilities, and God's still in control. But you know, it's one of those things that you know God anticipates that when we get in covenant, that we're gonna stay in covenant. So I wanted to talk about some of the like realities and the harsh, cruel realities that are happening before people cheat because I feel like cheating gets so much energy and I call out the women for this stuff big time in the video that there's a lot that happens before someone cheats. A lot that goes wrong before someone cheats. A lot of people are failing their biblical marital role before somebody else cheats. And they don't ever really get the public blame for that. But a lot of things are going wrong inside the households before someone cheats. And that is a sin. Like that part, the failure of those roles is a sin as much as the cheating is a sin. But the person who commits adultery always takes the hard, visible fall in public. And the one who is rebelling against handling their biblical role, they don't often get that same public condemnation. And they're both of those parts together start to destroy the marriage. It is both parts. One comes first, and then the divorce happens after. It happens. But yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I understand, Lyra. We'll catch you. We'll catch you. But we'll be live though. We live a lot, so you'll be seeing a lot of content. So you'll be on for the next ones. But I'm thank you for coming in here and commenting and letting us know what's up. Yeah. So let me know, guys. Let me know. But definitely check out the live that's gonna populate on Thursday. I want to say it's the 26th. Thursday, 4th, 5th, 23rd, 24th. Yes, Thursday the 26th, 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out that video on divorce and be sure to send it. I mean, I've had people that are like not even in the churchy world talk to me about my talks on divorce and they've loved them. You know, the secular people, the secular, non Christian, atheist people have loved my talks on divorce. So it's because divorce is the total equalizer. You don't have to be a Christian to go through the pain of that, turns out. So, yeah. So, yeah, definitely join my talk Thursday night on divorce. Send it to someone who is at risk, because if we save 5 or 10 marriages, that's 5 or 10 marriages, y'all. That's kids and grandkids that don't have to go through the torment of separation, the financial, the food insecurity and financial insecurity that comes after divorce. It's really, really difficult. It's some difficult years after that. And it really doesn't matter how you want to slice it up. Once that money starts separating into two households, when I tell you it gets real, the fight for living and surviving gets real. So I'm grateful that I got through it and did okay, did fine, and was blessed. But I tell you what, I know a lot of people who are still like never recover from it. So it's one of those things, if we could just like slow down and really process what's going on and process the fact that Jesus forgives us when we make mistakes. That's actually what God is calling us into, is to look at the transgressions as, you know what, is this person repentant of their sin? Are they repenting? Or have they gone to Jesus? Have they repented? Meaning, have they changed their mind about it? If we can get our partners to a place where we know they've sinned, they know they've sinned, and there is repentance, and they have changed their mind about the behavior, and they're willing to start again, that's what's needed to renew a marriage and to keep that covenant going. So I'm hopeful that there are people who I'm hopeful that there are people that don't end up divorced because of it. So I love doing talks on that, because I have a real heart for people who are going through difficult marriages. So yeah, and hit me up if you guys are looking for Christian counseling, marriage, family, one-on-one counseling. Hit me up, info@victorylifecorp.com. All right, so let's see what we got here. Stream's a little choppy. Okay, will this live be saved so I can review? Will it be saved? Yes, it'll be saved. It's just going to be saved on YouTube. So I think that's the thing. When I said before I'm saving the lives, I think I said that before when I was on IG, but I hadn't been saving those lives. My lives on YouTube are saved. Like, I've basically sunset everything when, like, I don't save the lives on TikTok. Um, I've sunset everything everywhere else. Only YouTube has my content. So I don't post my content on my Facebook anymore. I don't post my content on my IG. I'm actually probably gonna roll over my Facebook and IG. Mr. Michael, I'll probably only use my IG. I'll probably reactivate using it at some point if I'm using it for my technology channel. I might use it for that. So I might take that Facebook and IG and use it only for secular technology content. So that, because my audience over there is not a Christian audience anyway, in case you didn't know. Like, those are my old friends and old people from my regular old world. So that's not a Christian content. It's not a Christian world over there anyway. So I might repurpose those areas for my technology stuff. But I'm still thinking about it, and I still have a couple months to figure that out. But then if you see me go live over there, it's probably because I'm talking technology. But I'll have probably a second technology YouTube, and that'll be where the bulk of my information will be loaded and saves. I'm still thinking about how I'll handle that though, so we'll see. So, hiccups. I have no clue what your cure for hiccups would be, other than having some swallows of water and hoping for the best. I have zero idea. Zero idea how to get rid of hiccups. Thankfully, I never have them. As a season of coming out, as for the season coming out of and going into, for me, I've seen a lot of growth, a lot of relationships I had to let go of, and I'm now in a season of reflection. I feel you on that, and I feel a lot of that too. I agree. I feel a lot of reflection. I feel a lot of lessons learned, and I've gone through a lot of separation, some intentional and some unintentional, from people who no longer serve me, or I feel like we're no longer aligned. I just lost another person. I would say maybe 7 to 10 days ago, I lost another person in my inner circle. that no longer served me, and it was obvious and it was egregious. So it wasn't like yeah, it's not like a huge deal, and it wasn't totally unexpected, but it is what it is. Like the season ended. Like the season ended. I'm looking at relationships very differently. So inner circle needs to be tight people aligned with me, who I can depend on, who can depend on me. If I see it's one sided, I've exited those circles. Like I still have some people who are like one sided, and I just don't play ball anymore. Like I've had all the conversations I need to have, and I'm very much like, even the last few, there's some teeter tottering around. I've had the conversations I needed to have. So people know where I stand. I'm kind of like, oh no, this is how I feel. This is how I'm feeling. People know how I feel. So yeah, I'm in my season of reflection. Um, I have very few, you know, um, acquaintances that are too close to my inner circle. I have very few of that now. I feel good about who's in my inner circle, and um, how we're making contributions to each other's lives. And it's, bilateral contributions. I don't feel like I don't have a lot of one sided stuff now. And I think I was in a season before the pandemic where I did have one sided stuff, and I didn't recognize it as such. So it was a painful process to go through the shedding of relationships that were really and truly not what I thought they were. And eventually I could see that they were no longer serving me. It took me some time, but carefully, with a scalpel, carefully I went through that process, and I feel like I'm better for it. So I feel you on the season of reflection. I definitely feel you on that. Do you guys have other questions? Let me know. Let me know. We're doing Ask Me Anything. So that's what this is for. Ask Me Anything. And if I run out of questions, then I'll go ahead and disconnect. And then I'll just work on some content and then head to bed. But I'm curious if you guys have any other questions. I'm taking any question that you could possibly have. Um, Pop it in the chat. So let me know. 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 What's the funniest joke I know by heart? I don't have any jokes. I don't have any jokes. I think I'm funny enough, but I don't have any jokes. I don't have any jokes, Mr. Michael. The funniest joke I know by heart? I don't know. I have no clue. What goal do you think that humanity is not focused enough on achieving? Oh my gosh. Mr. Michael, I want you to write a book on questions. You write the best questions. I want you to write a book on questions. Your questions are the most epic questions I've ever seen. Like, you need to be your own version of Diary of a CEO. He's the ultimate, uh, like, podcast um, co-host in terms of like interview questions. Okay. What do I think humanity is not focused enough on achieving? Uh, um, I think humanity is not focused enough on. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I know what I want to say. I'm trying to figure out how to say it because I'm about to make some people mad. I'm about to make some people mad, so I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I don't think humanity is focused enough on ensuring that men and women have space, um, comfort, and a pathway to walk out their biblical role as man and woman. I don't think humanity is thinking much about that. But when you look at the role of man and woman and like what happened after women's liberation, voting, all the things, um, we had these wins and we had these losses. Definitely women have come up in terms of education, financial, all these things, right? Which is great. But the the families that have suffered, the fact that marriages have completely unraveled, um, it tells a whole nother story of the other output from that. It tells another story that everyone didn't win. That's what I'm saying. And so we've entered this phase where now a lot of women are doing well financially, but are also stressed emotionally. And I don't think women have a way back to their biblical role. There really isn't an easy way to get back in. And culture has shifted so much to a place where two incomes are the norm. You know, inflation is crazy. So there are these financial economic things that are now weighing on the situation that are keeping us from a pathway back to our biblical roles. And then there's the to be honest with you, culture has shifted so much in terms of the culture of holiness, the culture of freedom of religion and speech, and really being able to uphold what God says is truth, useful. Those things are culturally less acceptable. There really isn't a pathway, an easy pathway back to the biblical role. If you really look at it, we have kind of gone a certain direction, and it makes me concerned, not so much for me, it makes me concerned for like the next generation. Because think about the next generation. Like for me, I'm okay, I've made my money, I have my things. You know, if I meet somebody nice, I'm gonna go off into the sunset and I can find my way back to my biblical role. You know, but I'm nervous for the next generation of women who, like, I've already like seen the gains and losses. I've already been through like thinking that you could have it all, like, and realizing that we've been lied to, when realizing there are trade-offs. That's the reality. There are trade-offs. When we do boss babes, we're often giving up our fertility and our babies and our marriages because we're doing that one-dimensional like corporate ladder climbing. That's often what happens, and always a lot of times we're not doing it all well. I worry about the next generation because when we look at it statistically, by 2030, only 50% of, I want to say, women are going to be like getting married and having kids and stuff. Like 50% of them are even going to be doing that. There's a crazy statistic that's coming up to basically say people are giving up on reproducing and settling down. That's basically what that statistic is saying. So when I hear that, and I see how hard it was for me, you know, 15 years or so of being divorced, right? When I see how hard that's been for me, and I'm an incredibly strong person, and then I see what the next generation is up against. And I had both parents. I was loved. You know what I'm saying? So I had a lot of foundational strength in that that has carried me through these painful issues. But when you think about the next generation, a lot of them don't have that same strong foundation. So they didn't have two parents that loved them. And then they're facing a lot of the traumas that we faced, but they're facing it with a weaker foundation because they didn't have all that embedded. Like they knew both their parents loved them and their parents were like pretty much okay and all that. They didn't have all that. So can you imagine what going through all of that like trauma and the devil lying to you and telling you that you could have it all, blah blah blah, and then you realize you can't, and you've passed your opportunity to have your babies, and now you've kind of aged out of that, and all those little things that happen. Like I worry for the next generation because holiness culture is not really widely accepted. I mean, I meet people all the time, and I just kind of like, I don't want to get into all the details, but I can like have one look at them and be like, okay, so I met you in the gym with all your beautiful muscles, and yeah, you're hitting on me right now. So are you gonna want to like do abstinence with me with all those beautiful muscles? And you clearly can have every girl in the gym. I'm like, no, you know, you're not going to do that. So like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of like, I already know what's up. So I'm like, no, no thanks. I'm okay. I'm good. But I see and I'm like, these young girls, like, I just worry about them. That makes any sense? I worry about that state of humanity because men have been told that they can go run around a lot, knock them all down, and they're gonna be happy and joyful. They've been sold that lie. And while there's a short term gain in the sexual intimacy, if that's what they're about, there's I've seen and witnessed. Um, I had mostly male friends the last decade, mostly. I've seen and witnessed how much it harms them when they get the letdown of a woman who's just in it for physical things and they actually had their heart in it. I've seen that they have feelings too, that they're not robots, that they want love and they want to be nurtured and they want to have things reciprocated and they're like they're missing something. So there is it's destroying people. I'm watching it happen. And I'm watching it happen to people who I think are really strong and people who've had pretty strong upbringings and pretty strong foundations. So when I see what we've been through as people who've had a rock solid foundation, and I know what the culture is coming to, and I know what those younger people are up against, I just worry if we don't get back to some of the strong biblical values, I worry about what it's gonna be like for them because we have God, right? So even if we run up against something, we have God. God is not necessarily the part of the daily diet of a lot of young people. For a lot of them, a lot of us even, it took us many years to get to the point where we say yes to Jesus, and they're not even being trained up in the Word. They had never even been brought to church. They weren't even like when I was younger. At least my mom made me go to church for a few years, right? They're not even being forced to go to church. Their parents don't even know the word of God, don't even go to church. So they don't have anything to hold on to, and they don't have that strong upbringing, and the holiness culture has disappeared. And then the culture where, biblical roles are no longer um, promoted. It's a lot going on, and I'm concerned. And I don't think a lot of people are concerned, but I'm concerned. So I just try to do my part in talking about the biblical roles, talking practically about how people can handle. That's why I do Ask Me Anything. I want to give people a chance to ask questions, and then I want to give them information that represents how we practically can walk out this biblical thing that's in front of us, because we do have options and we don't have to come into agreement with the world standards, but we do need many people like me who are willing to take that Bible and make it real and modernize for today's youth. Yeah, I don't know because I can tell you how many times that I've been laughed at or eye rolled for abstinence. I don't even bring it up now. I don't even like, I really don't. I know people have their ways of saying they just put it on the table immediately. I don't, because when I wasn't abstinent and when I was in the world, I didn't put on the table immediately that, oh, I'm going to do this or I might be doing that or we could maybe do. I never said that. So I don't want to like necessarily put my abstinence on the table, although I do put it on the internet. If I'm going on a date, I don't normally date a listener. So people don't even know really what I do. It's pretty much they walk and meet me on the street and then hello and then we go to dinner. So they generally don't even know what I do. So I don't just walk in and be like, "Oh, hey, my name is so and so, and I support abstinence, and that's the lifestyle that I'm living." I don't do that. I just go on the dinner and eat and talk and get to know them, and then like leave it at that. And a lot of times I just say no, thank you, because I'm like, I take one look at the person, I'm like, they're not going to be abstinent. They're not going to be abstinent. There's no point. They're like, "Oh, why can't we?" And I'm just like, "Do you have a boyfriend? No. Why can't we?" I'm like, I don't think it's gonna work out. We'll leave it at that. So yeah, I don't I feel for the younger because I'm very very like comfortable with someone walking away, and I'm comfortable walking away. We talked about it earlier. Like if it's work related and it's not the right fit, I'll walk away. I don't feel like pressured to have something. I just walk away. I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm the same way with relationships. If it's not the right fit, no, it's fine. If there's no one there, it's fine. If there's someone there, it's fine. I don't feel like I have to like have the person just to have a person. I'm okay with walking away. So I think for the younger people in this particular culture, it is. I think it's unbelievably hard to walk out holiness in 2025 and probably going into 2030. I think it's unbelievably hard. I think it can be done, but the number of times you go through feelings of rejection is a real thing. And so I pray that God is building up these young men and women to withstand some of that rejection that they feel, because it's a real thing. It's a real thing. And I can remember being younger and being able to like be at LSU and be a virgin. And I can remember like it was still respected. Like, do you guys know what I'm talking about? I can remember, well, maybe the guys didn't want to go out on another day with me, but honestly, they knew good and well they just didn't want to act right, but I knew they respected me. There's a difference now because I date now as an abstinent Christian, second time around, more or less, right? The respect isn't there now. That's the difference. When I was younger, I remember how valuable I felt in my abstinence. I remember how precious men considered me. Does that make sense? I remember that. I remember how guys did walk away, but they thought I was precious. And honestly, it wasn't just that they weren't willing to like wait. It was also that they were like, well, I'm gonna have to marry this girl. I'm not really thinking about marriage. And I don't their thinking was I don't want to tempt her to stumble. Like they maybe were fine with stumbling, but they didn't want to stumble with a virgin and do something. They considered that doing something against God to do something against me. And there was that back then. There was value in respecting a girl's purity. Like, even though the guy was like, I don't want to be pure, but they were like, that girl's pure. That's a no. We don't do that. Like they understood that there was some value there and that they shouldn't be messing with that just for fun. That value that I remember feeling as a young woman, I can see now how frequently that value they I don't see that people value it. Like not only are they not willing to do it with me, right? Duh. But they also are like, for what? Like that, because people are so much further away from God is the difference. So they're like, for what? They're like, well, you already had a baby, you've already been married, so for what? Like, do you not know how often we get the for what thing? It just goes to show you that people are walking in their old nature and they don't understand. You can't even begin to explain that to them. Like, oh, I met Jesus, he changed me, I'm no longer the old person. I'm a new person. That person that you're talking about isn't with us anymore. I'm a new creation. So I'm brand new. Yeah, I'm brand new out of the womb, brand new again. So, but that doesn't translate well in this culture. It's one of those things you have to be really strong to be like, I know it doesn't translate well for you, but I'm still honoring God. That's what I'm gonna do. And if that doesn't work out, it's fine. It's a certain like muscle that you have to have, but it's so weird. It's so incredibly weird to see how far away from that standard people feel comfortable living, and that's it. That's very strange. And they can sit down and say, oh, you're the perfect girl, I love what you're about, I feel that you're loyal, you're respectable, you're marriage material, blah blah blah, but I'm not willing to do that discipline. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to try it. And I didn't like, it's a level of like, no, I'm not built like that. It's just an automatic. And for me, this is how I look at it. When I see that, I automatically see this is what God feels when we transgress him. This is what he feels. He feels that that's that rebellion right there. Like when somebody's like, oh no, we don't do that. Like we're not doing all that. We do all these things. That part I'm not skipping. Nope, not doing that. And it's like you could see where they're like, there's a blessing behind this one thing. There's a blessing behind this bit of self discipline. But then they're like, nope, I'm not willing to do that self discipline part, and I will let go of you, and I will have this lesser thing because I don't have that self discipline, nor do I want it. That is that is a level of falling away from the church like we've never seen. And the book of Revelation talks about this thing called an apostasy, where there are people who have fallen away from God. And so they've fallen away so much that they have not taught their children, they have not taught their children about God. And therefore, their children don't know about God. Therefore, they can't even begin to understand the ways to worship and honor God and how to worship and honor God even with your body. They can't even begin to understand it. It doesn't even register. Like I in my younger age, it registered the value of doing it, even if you didn't want to do it. The falling away has occurred further, and now there is no registration of the value of doing it. They don't even understand. They're like, well, what's that? Abstinence? What's that? Or for what? There's a disconnect between the level of obedience to God and how not only is it obedient to God, but it's like how it's protection against the schemes of the enemy. There's a disconnect that a lot of the pain that we go through is also because we transgressed God. We stepped outside of the umbrella of his protection. And so we stepped outside the umbrella and poof, got an STD. Stepped outside the umbrella and poof, got our feelings hurt. Stepped outside the umbrella and somebody lied and deceived us. But under that umbrella, they would have revealed their truth in 90 days. We would have seen what we were working with. But instead, we left the umbrella and got deceived. And people are not even recognizing that the issue is it's the lack of abstinence has created a space for deception to run rampant and for people to feel transgressed by one another versus loved, versus actually loved. Whatever you want to call the love thing, That's what I would say about that. It's tough, right? It's super tough. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah, let me know if you guys have questions. Pop them in the chat. We're doing Ask Me Anything. So, questions are epic tonight. I will say that. Let's see. Did I miss any questions? I don't think I missed any questions. Okay, let's look over here. YouTube. We need to turn the tables so that if Christians are dating and they encounter a person who's not absent, it's an instant non-starter. Here's the problem. I'm keeping it real with you, Mr. Michael. Because I'm an abstinent Christian and because I still date every now and then, I'll help you understand the issue. Where I live in Atlanta, you can meet a Christian who's not abstinent in a minute. Like most of the Christians are not walking in abstinence. Like rarely you meet a Christian who's also abstinent. Like when they are abstinent, it's like they were abstinent for a few weeks or while they couldn't date. It's not really purposeful abstinence. It's like slip and fall abstinence. A lot of them aren't. So that's not really the most of them are not. Mostly, at least where I live. It's a big city, so it's different. I think in smaller towns, it's probably much better, maybe a little bit better, but I definitely think better. But in these bigger towns, there isn't any. People don't have accountability groups. There's no one like. There's none of that. I don't think people have any conviction around it. And as a matter of fact, I think they've accepted the fact that it's more normal than not to just call yourself Christian and then break as many rules as you want, but then just call yourself Christian because of grace. That's become the norm. Period. And so if that's the norm, and then a Christian guy can find a Christian girl who also thinks the same way, then they just run off into the sunset doing that. That's become the norm. I mean, I will leave it there. So, I mean, there's no difference between, to me personally, 80% of the Christian guys that I run into, I'll put it in 80% category. I won't put them all. 80% of the Christian guys that I run into, their behaviors in terms of obedience to God, their behaviors are about what and what with the average atheist guy. Their behaviors are about what and what. So the question becomes like, should one date someone who doesn't believe in Jesus? Yes or no? That becomes the question, especially when you sit down and you finally have a conversation about abstinence, and the one person who's willing to actually try to walk through abstinence with you doesn't believe in Jesus yet, but they're at least willing to respect where you are in it and walk through this abstinence with you. Whereas a Christian guy is not. They're like, no, we're gonna do this thing, and I can find someone who'll do it. But then they call themselves Christian. So there's that. I think in 2025, we have to be careful with the labels, because I think that some of the contents of the box has been dropped a lot. The contents is all shaken up inside, but it's labeled one way. So you may have a label that says Christian stamp on it, but inside the box there's all of these fragments inside of it. So I don't know. I think we judge people by their fruit, and we just try to figure out who can walk these values with us. I think if they can walk the values with us, they're probably closer than we think to getting saved, because it does take a certain amount of stamina to walk this walk with someone. So I think that's probably useful. That's what I'm thinking. Although it's not something that I really like for men in general, that's not advice I'd recommend, because go to a church. You will find 90% of the attendees are women. So I think every man should be able to find a Christian woman. Every man should be able to find one, and they should be able to find one who is running the race the same way they are. Because I find more women than men doing all the things kind of the same way that I am. More women are doing it. I don't find that men are doing it. So I think the issue is like for women, I think women need not run out of fertility waiting on their, guy who's mostly like Jesus. I think women, if they can find someone who can walk this out with them, then they should try to do that and try to stay close to God if they can, and go ahead and exit and get married to someone. They probably should try to do it, because what's the other reality is if they don't ever get married, they don't ever reproduce. Like, that's also not something that God wants either. He wants kingdom kids. So I just don't know what to say. And this is the tension, right? Because tell me where the numbers are. If there's a whole lot of, like, Mr. Michael, are you part of Tribe? Are you part of Tribe? Let me know if you are. Say yes or no. Because I haven't seen mostly women in that group. I don't see mostly men over there. It's mostly women in that group. Let me know. Let me know if you're part of that group. Because go look at the videos. Look at it. It's mostly men. I'm not going to say it's all men. It's not all, but it's mostly men. So if you've got 500 women in the room and you see 5 men, that's a concern. It's a concern. It's a concern because 500 women to 5 men. Do we want 500 women not getting married, not reproducing? Do we want 500 women, or 495? Do we want 495 women not getting married and not reproducing? I think no. I think we want to see if these women can find. See, you were in. Okay, you were in Tribe. Found I was doing better. Okay, that's fine. So I'm saying I think it's a valuable organization, but in terms of like the numbers, it's majority women. It's I saw like from the photos I saw, it's the majority women. So if it's 90-95% women and then 5 to 10% men, then what are we going to tell those women, 90% of those women, when there's not enough available mates for them in that group? What are we going to tell those women? I think you have to say to yourself, if you're desiring marriage, you have to try to find someone who respects your values, and that's a beginning step. That's a beginning step. if they can respect not how they label themselves, but as long as they don't have like another God. I mean, that's a different story. If they're worshiping, actively worshiping another God, I think that's a no-no. That's too much. If they're kind of like trying to do right, be good, and they're like, I can try to walk this out with you, that's a start. And then go to church and then see let God do the rest. Maybe God will convert them, maybe God won't. But if they can respect what you're trying to do, that's as close as I think it's gonna get in 2025. I mean, or you're gonna have to really go online dating and dig around, which I can tell you, I haven't gotten the strength to go back and do online dating. It's that's a wild west up in there too. I mean, honestly, I'd probably just date the guy who bumps into me at the grocery store. I'd probably just do that. I'd probably like find somebody, oh, okay, meet them. They're okay with abstinence for a while, okay. If they're not okay with it, let them move on. It's fine. I would probably just do it like that. That seems practical to me. Like otherwise, it seems tough. Does that make sense? It seems kind of tough. But I think to each their own, you know. Um, you have zero desire to date. LOL. I get it. I mean, I don't want to go on any dates right now either. I don't want to go on like I don't want to like go on any random dates. Put it that way. Put it that. I'll be more specific. I don't want to go on any random dates. Let's be clear. If it's somebody that like I'm comfortable with, that I already know, it's easy. That's good. I don't want any random dates either. Like no. If God leads you to marriage, you won't disobey. That's right. See, that's a good way to think. I think at the end of the day, you got plenty of time. You're young. The world's your oyster. You know, you're part of enough circles where there are eligible females. I mean, you don't have to be active in all of the different groups, but you're floating amidst these different groups where there are eligible bachelorettes. The person will come along. It'll just be some time. It'll happen. But yeah, that's what's up. Y'all let me know. You guys over here on TikTok, y'all be sure to come over to YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. I'm about to hop off because we got work tomorrow, guys. We got work, and I actually want to try to put up one more video if I have time. I want to put up one more video before I go to bed, if I have time. If I don't fall asleep first. I fell asleep Saturday night, so that didn't work out so well. Fell asleep, one earpiece in my head, and so we'll see. But I think I could do it. I think I could pull one off, one more. I think I could do it. It's only Monday. I know, but it's still Monday. It's still Monday. We praise God for every day. I know, but I already know I have a deadline today, so I'm thinking Monday, the deadline day. Yeah, I have a deadline today. So I'm kind of like, it's Monday. So yeah, I might load another video and then try to go to bed, or at least prepare it. I might either or prepare it and just release it tomorrow morning before I start working. One of the two. I might do that. At least if it's prepared, then it's done. Don't forget, guys, Thursday, I'm going to be talking about divorce. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be a very good chat, very vulnerable chat, sharing a lot of my own personal testimony, all of my personal lessons learned. And boy, have I learned some lessons. It's going to be a detailed conversation. I also read like 5 books last summer on marriage and family. Marriage and family counseling books. I read 5 books last summer. Was it last summer? No, the summer prior to that. I read 5 books, and I'm honestly still receiving from those 5 books. I was having some conversations this week around some of the lessons I learned from those books, and and implementing them in my own little special life. So I've received a lot from that. So yeah, if you guys are in like a situation, family, friends, kids, marriages, just dating situations, and you need Christian counseling, hit me up. info@victorylifecorp.com. Just let me know that you need some support, and we'll work something out. Definitely come to the live Monday 9 p.m. Eastern time, because that's going to be epic. spilling all my own personal beans. I actually think it's useful, even though I'm a private person, but I actually think the stuff that I learned is useful. I've learned a lot of things, so we're gonna go with that. You do know this: if the people who are staying faithful to get married, our marriages are gonna be lit. Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. If we end up with some wives and husbands up in here, it's gonna be on pecan. Y'all, the weddings are gonna be epic. What if we have like people that got married that met each other from Victory Life Podcast? Oh, I could go to weddings. I could be like the Christian version of Kendra and show up at people's weddings. That'd be so cute, y'all. Oh my god, you guys all have to start getting together and marrying each other. It would be so awesome. And then I could like do like a 5-minute podcast after the wedding is done and just talk to the bride and groom. It'd be so sweet. 5 minutes. Nobody wants people in your face all day. They want to eat food and relax and go on a honeymoon. Yay! I'm already gonna be going to Mr. Michael's wedding, so yes, yes, yes. He will get married, and it will happen when it happens, but it will happen. So yeah, there's one. Check. Y'all, I want invites to everybody's wedding. And definitely, if you get married to somebody else from Victory Life Podcast, I definitely want to go to the wedding. That'd be so great. It'd be so awesome. Anywho, I'm up for buying a lot of wedding presents, so let's go. All right, y'all. Be sure to like, share, subscribe. This was actually a pretty good one. We had some good questions this time around. It was a pretty interesting one. I never know how it's going to go when we do Ask Me Anything, so it's always kind of a treat to be part of y'all's world where like y'all's questions get answered because like I said, I never know what's going to be asked. So I actually think it's pretty adventurous. Come to think about it, a lot of people won't do and ask me anything because they don't want any old question asked. They don't want to deal with that. I think it's kind of cool though. I think it's a good way to get a pulse on like what's going on out here, and also um, it definitely will test my strength in all areas, right? Make sure that I'm solid. Anywho, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go, but don't forget Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, talking about divorce. It's gonna be the episode. Y'all should turn on your notifications for it. The episode is actually called. I'm gonna tell you. The episode is called "Don't Rush." It's called "Don't Rush the Divorce." What God showed me um, about marriage in crisis. And so, yeah, it's gonna be epically good. It looks like, if you look at it, it's hard to see. This is on YouTube, Victory Life Podcast 7603. It looks like this one where I've got the hands up like this. It looks like that one. Oh, you haven't seen anything like my podcast? Oh, thank you. That's good. I'm supposed to, like, my podcast is supposed to be here to pick up where the church leaves off. So, um, the church just does like the scriptures and the motivational speeches, one of the two, right? But then a lot of times they don't give you the practical, okay, what do you do with this situation that I have? I have a question. Now, we have this Bible, but now what do I do? My question's not in that Bible. Now, based on that, what do I do? That's really what this podcast is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be for a space for when you have a real life scenario. How do you walk that out given the fact that we are raised in Christ and we have a Bible? It's actually supposed to be for that. Um, but I'm loving it. I love that we have a space where we can have this because it's, like I said, a lot of people, they go to church and the pastor really isn't there for them after church ends. Like, church came, church went, and then there's no pastor there. So this is supposed to pick up basically where church leaves off. So if you have questions, practical daily struggles with sin and all those kinds of good things, it's supposed to be here to help you kind of practically walk through that because I'm a regular person. I mean, I went to seminary school and I'm a nurse, but I'm a regular person who has struggled in sin, who lives a regular life. I'm single, so I go on dates, I get tempted. All the same things that you guys go through, I go through, and I'm zero different from y'all. I've had my ups and my downs, and I have the things that, like, things I struggle with, and I'm living in a world that's imperfect, living in a body that's imperfect, and um, yeah, we're just taking life one day at a time and doing the best we can, repenting, reading our scriptures, and getting into that. So we're more the same than we are different. Um, so I'm here to just like walk us through it, and hopefully that it's the community is serving you guys, and I'm also hopeful that people actually from this community will start to mingle, so that people are starting to get to know each other, and maybe that's something that I need to take on doing something about. Maybe I need to have like a special community that brings you all together, because I see a bunch of people here, a bunch of people there, a bunch of people here, and yeah, people are not mingling all the time. Sometimes I see on TikTok they mingle with each other. Sometimes I see on YouTube they mingle with each other, but I probably do need to actually build a proper community. I'll think about that for 2026. I don't think I'm taking that on for this year. That's something that I may consider for a future year. Um, but don't mark me to it. I might actually do it sooner. You never know. But I think it's useful. I think it's useful because I have a feeling, Mr. Michael, there's people listening in on this TikTok, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be some lovely ladies that back and forth. There should be some husbands and wives getting together here. This is like a no brainer. Just saying, it's a no brainer. No brainer. Anywho, okay, guys, it's nappy time. Everybody, have a good night. I'm gonna come on over to Victory Life Podcast 7603. In the next 30 minutes, I'm probably gonna upload some prayer videos, so you guys can kind of sit into that and play it, and go to sleep. It'll be some nice soft music. You can go to sleep and listen to some prayers. So I'm probably gonna upload my prayer videos, so that you guys, and it'll just be on a loop, so you guys can listen to that as you go to bed, and when I get up in the morning I'll turn it off. So I'm gonna work on that. It'll probably take me 30 minutes to get that done, because I want to compile a couple of prayer videos and then upload it. So you guys will, people who can't sleep, I know insomnia can be a thing. People who can't sleep can listen to that as they go to bed. So that'll be available only on YouTube. Victory Life Podcast 7603. Come on over, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and I'm going to upload that shortly. So you guys will have that to go to sleep to. And I'm going to be, again, Thursday night, going to be talking about divorce, because that's I'm super, super between deliverance, divorce, and just practical day-to-day ways of living. That's why I feel like my ministry is super strong. So anyways, I'll let you guys go. Let me know if you guys have needs for Christian counseling. Hit me up, info@victorylifecorp.com. Until next time, everybody. Bye, everybody. Bye, 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 bye.